If athleisure was a radio show, this would be that radio show. Bo Bishop, a man of fine taste and Montana class.
My wife will try and drag me to like an Easter brunch buffet, and I don't even like that because I don't like everybody standing over food I'm going to eat.
Friends with the highest intellectuals.
We found out the hard way. We have white furniture. That's all I'll say.
What a mess.
Oh, God. Holy
Literally.
An athlete, coach, husband, and father.
That drives me nuts. My kids are, I'm him. Shut up. Kidding me? You're 9. You're not him. I don't even know what the hell that means.
And two guys who are considerable downgrades from a former football player. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, let's do it live on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. Bo, the boys with you for the next 3. Reese is here. Tyvis, Powell is here as well. It is a Hey Guys First Friday. Get your Hey Guys questions into us, and we will get to those at 11 o'clock. We will hit you with, we got Jake Trotter coming in. He'll be in at 10:33 around college football. A little bit of higher, lower as well. Get your officially endorsed that will be appropriate for the time of the year. And, of course, we'll hear from Will Howard. That's coming up at 9:33. He was available yesterday and had some really interesting things to say. This guy sounds like a pro quarterback. That's what he sounds like. And I think that's something that's going to come in very valuable over the last half of the season. I did want to start here, though. I remember this very vividly in terms of the date of it all. And it was, I didn't know the exact date, but I remember where I was for sure. And it was in the actual date I just looked up. It was February 18th, 2002. You see, for the kids out there, there used to be this publication called Sports Illustrated. Mm-hmm. And every week they would send you a physical magazine. And in that physical magazine, it was... Well, no, that was Sports Illustrated for kids. Yeah. That still exists. My kids got their issue yesterday.
They still put the cards in the back of it?
They still put the cards in the back of it, yes.
That was a gold mine when I was a kid.
Yeah, SI for Kids exists still. We have a subscription, and they still put the cards in it. And they have posters, too. They have like a poster in it that shows up every month. I don't even know when it gets delivered, quite honestly, Ty. It might be like every 2 months. I don't even – I think it just shows up whenever they have enough to write. I don't know. But there was a time where it was the publication of record. And I would say, honestly, like I would say it was the sports – information of record, that if you were in Sports Illustrated, if you were on the cover of Sports Illustrated, that it was something that was of great importance.
Yes.
And this was in February 18th, 2002, where I was living in Tallahassee at the time, and the issue was delivered to me, and on the cover, it read The Chosen One. And it said, high school junior LeBron James would be an NBA lottery pick right now. And I said, well, that seems interesting, that there would be a kid who could do it. I had no idea that I would ever live in Ohio. I had no idea that anything that has happened since in my life would happen. Hadn't even met my wife at that time. But what I knew was it seemed preposterous that a high school kid would be a lottery pick right now. And honestly, I remember thinking like, okay, this seems like a pretty big stretch.
Yeah.
That we're going to do this. That we're going to say a high school junior is going to be the chosen one and would be a lottery pick right now. And then all he's done since is live up to all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. He makes the worst thing you can say about him is that he awkwardly left his hometown once. That's it. There's nothing else you can say. He's lived up to every bit of the hype. I can tell you that a younger generation, like my kids' generation, they are convinced that he's better than Jordan. Like, they don't even want to hear the conversation about Mike. They're like, in that league? Like, they didn't even shoot threes. Like, that's their counter to it. Like, they live in a world where, and the fact that it's even a conversation is stunning.
Yeah.
So if you think about checking off all of the boxes, I remember when he first had Bronny, and he said, my goal is to play, I want to play long enough that I can play with him in the NBA.
Mm-hmm. And everybody laughed. That's impossible.
It happened last night.
Yes, it did.
It happened. Now, you can question the validity of Bronny's talent and if he is worthy as a talent.
Nobody cares.
But nobody cares. They don't care. They did it. They checked into a game last night in the NBA opening night, and they played. Bronny played for 3 minutes. I was watching it because it's history.
Yeah, I did.
The
too.
Griffies were there.
Yeah, they posed. They took a picture.
Junior and senior.
Yeah,
were in the mix.
Yeah.
As a Cleveland kid, when did you first become aware of LeBron?
You hear about LeBron. I heard about him as a junior. Obviously, when he hit the magazines, at that time, everybody was pretty much in Cleveland already knew about him. And everybody was talking about him during the AAU tournaments and stuff like that. And so you hear about this LeBron James, but like at the time, I'm a kid myself, so I'm like, okay, who is this LeBron kid? Some dude that's in high school. All right, that's pretty cool. And then it really ramps up around the draft. It's like everybody in Cleveland is split because at that time it's Carmelo, LeBron, Carmelo, LeBron, Carmelo, LeBron. Which one they going to take? They get the number one pick.
There was a real conversation around it. In fact, Carmelo didn't even go third. People don't remember this.
Yeah, no.
It was Darko Milicic who went third. Yep. And the Pistons had the pick. They had just won the championship, and they had the number 2 pick in the draft because they had done a trade that wasn't protected with Memphis. Mm-hmm. So Memphis loses that lottery. If they won the lottery, they get LeBron James. They lose it, and they end up with nobody.
Yeah, so
because their pick went to Detroit.
So I remember that, and then obviously I'm watching the draft. I remember LeBron was in that like white or that off-white suit and whatnot. Then you hear about him getting the Hummer when he's in high school, and it's like, whoa, what's going on there? Wasn't he ruled ineligible by the OHSAA? Yeah. Because he had the Hummer, and he had to wear those patches over his arms because he had the tattoos. Yeah, so he had to wear those patches over his arm for St. Vincent St. Mary. So it cranked up then, and when he got drafted to the Cavs, it was like a huge celebration. His hometown, even though he's from Akron, but everybody considers it's the same thing. He got this guy that's gonna come in, and he's supposed to be the next Jordan and all of these things, and. Yeah, he lived up to the hype for sure. I remember watching him just like, this is the most athletic dude I've ever seen in my life. And to fast forward to where we are now to watch, because you've seen him have his son with him. And I remember Bronny with the braids as a kid. Oh, yeah. And to fast forward to see him checking in a game with his son, it makes me feel old, honestly. I'm not going to lie to you when you see Bronny out there like that. But I watched it, too, because it was history. I seen the little thing where they was mic'd up and he said, "Is you ready?" Yup. Yeah. And then he gets up and they both check in together. And it was cool just watching them communicate on the floor. And then I think LeBron tried to get him a shot. He passed to his son to get him a shot, but I don't think Bronny hit it. But yeah, it was a cool moment. If you didn't see it, you definitely want to take the time to go back and watch that. But it was a really cool moment.
Reese, you've come full circle. I mean, you're an Ohioan. You're a Cleveland sports fan. I'm sure you had the full run of emotions with him through the years.
Yeah, it's been everything.
He was mad. He was mad about the
as
South. Hell.
Just how he embarrassed Northeast Ohio. Just how he embarrassed everybody.
Did he embarrass us?
There was no way he was going to go on. You knew, but you didn't think he would go on national television and say, "Yeah, I'm going to Miami."
I remember saying I was doing live television at that time, and I remember doing it. I remember this vividly. The news anchor asked me, "Well, what do you think he's going to do?" And I said, I just don't think that anyone would go on national television and break up with their girlfriend. I just don't think anybody, or their wife, I guess, ask a divorce from their wife is really what happened. I said, I just don't think anybody would ever do that. Like if he was going to go to Miami or whoever, you would have done it in a more discreet way. I don't think that, and the cover of the Boys and Girls Club and all of that, it was just so chaotic. But then he made it all right. And it's funny because it came full circle with Sports Illustrated, because you'll remember that when he came back, it was the Sports Illustrated cover where he dropped it.
Coming home.
I'm coming home, yeah. And I was doing the show, would have been AR and I at that time. And we were trying to, this is the other thing that's so funny about it, and it spans the generations with LeBron. My first knowledge of him is a Sports Illustrated physical magazine cover, which I don't even know if they print Sports Illustrated anymore. And then you think about all of the live television I did around it, because we would cover the finals when they were in the finals. So I was at the game when he hit the shot against Orlando, and we were at those games.
I remember that.
All that stuff. I mean, we all remember all of it. And when he came back, I was on the air, pretty sure with AR, and that was at the infancy of Twitter. And AR and I, we were in the old studios in the Brewery District, and we had the TVs up. I'm pretty sure it was AR and I. I'm almost positive. And I remember we had always had ESPN on one, and we had NFL Network on the other. So if there was breaking news, we could have it. But it was still it was the infancy of Twitter, and we were looking for the check mark to say, is this verified? Mm-hmm. I think this is happening. Is it verified? Is there a physical thing? And it wasn't until I want to say it was Jay Crawford was on one of the shows, and he said, "Well, this is it. And we're like, okay, I think it's real. He's coming home. And you go, my God, what?
Yeah, Jay.
And my wife was in the news business, and I remember her doing a live shot outside of where they tore down the We're All Witness thing, and like just a city in tears. And then it all came back. He had that concert in Akron. I mean, and then he delivered the title. Like, what do you want from the guy?
I mean, that's the thing. I don't know how people in Northeast Ohio can even be mad at LeBron. He came back, and I understand
Not
the first.
anymore.
I understand the first part of it.
Yeah.
But like when he came back and gave you the title, like to me, like it's done. Like you can't say anything negative about him anymore. He did what he said he was going to do.
He didn't win an MVP in any of the 4 years that he was back in Cleveland. He should have won it every year.
I mean, he expedited
every single year. He was the best player in the league.
When he came back to the Cavs, like I thought you was thinking, okay, it's going to take maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. No.
I think they went like every year. Like
they went to the finals all 4 straight years.
It was ridiculous.
He drug Matthew Dellavedova and Tristan Thompson and to the finals.
Yeah.
Win games. They won games.
Yeah, he did.
Come on, man. No, it's so just you're right. It makes us all, I'm sure, feel old. You think about he's been in your lives. You guys are younger generation than me for most of all of your lives.
Yeah.
Some way or another. It's a 20-year NBA career now. And he did it. He did it. Last night he played a basketball game with his son.
Will he do it for his other son?
He still looks good.
I did.
Do you want to say that definitively that he won't?
No.
You can't.
That's the thing. It's like we don't know that he will, but there's nobody here that's gonna be like, no, he won't make it to Bryce.
Somebody's gonna hate on him and draft his other son, so they can't allow it to happen.
Well, by that time he'll be a free agent, and they'll just pay him the vet minimum, and he'll do it for a box to check.
He may be doing it in Las Vegas because he may be an owner of that team.
That's true too.
By the time that happens, you're going to hear from LeBron on that coming up next. NBA opening night, the Jackets buried the Leafs. We will get into all of that coming up next. We're off and running on a First Friday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
This promo is brought to you by Common Man and Timmy Hall's Ping Pong Game. The Fan.
Come November, I'll need an ACA health insurance plan. And thanks to Health Markets, searching for a plan can be easier. When you go to healthmarkets.com, you can find a licensed insurance agent right in your area. They'll even take you through the plans in person. And their help doesn't cost you anything. That's what I like.
Discover the advantages of real personalized service today at healthmarkets.com. Health Markets Insurance Agency, Inc. is licensed as an insurance agency nationwide except in Massachusetts. Sales agents may be compensated based on a consumer's enrollment in an insurance plan. No obligation to enroll, paid actor per trail.
Football fans, are you ready to score big this NFL season? Hey, it's T-Bone to tell you that Bud Light and 97.1 The Fan have teamed up for the ultimate football face-off. Join us each week for football face-off events and your chance to win a trip to Vegas where you'll compete for the grand prize. A trip for 2 to New Orleans or the Super Bowl. Drink Bud Light, enjoy the games, and take your shot at football glory. This week, join me on Sunday at Pastimes in New Albany. I'll be there from 3 to 5 p.m., straddling the Browns and then the Bengals game to give you a shot at going to the Super Bowl.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Check out this sale on red, green, or black seedless grapes. Right now, they're just 99 cents a pound with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Common Man and T-Bone here for Hollywood Casino Columbus. Hey, Bone, did you know the sports book is now called ESPN Bet?
I did, and you can watch your favorite teams on the biggest screens, place your bets, and grab some wings with an ice-cold pint.
Maybe you're too boring and don't want to go to the casino. Good news. You can keep the action going and place your bets on the go with the ESPN Bet app.
The ESPN Bet Sportsbook is your 50-yard line ticket to odds, point spreads, and over-unders.
It's the place to be. Losers must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Dick from Dayton says, listen to the Ryan Day Show. Paul Keels and Jim Lachey join Coach every Thursday from noon to 1.
Presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Fan.
From the mind of a 2-foot-tall talking spokes puppet comes this year's biggest challenge. It's time for Bob's Dare to Compare, the hottest game show on TV that asks, what happens when you compare Bob's to the competition? You get style. You get quality. You get beeps and boops and dings and whomps. and thousands of dollars in savings. Everyone's a winner when you dare to compare with Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in store or at mybobs.com to play now.
Trust and Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust and Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust and Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code Columbus now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code Columbus. Trust and Will is an online service providing legal forms and information. It is not a law firm and is not a substitute for the advice of an attorney.
Just how liberal is Sherrod Brown? Take a look at his actual votes. That's what Debbie from the Cleveland area did.
I thought I knew Sherrod Brown. Now I hear he's super liberal, so I went and looked at his votes. Brown voted to allow late-term partial birth abortions. It's horrific. The AMA said it should be banned, but Sherrod voted for it more than once.
In fact, Sherrod Brown voted for partial birth abortion 6 different times.
Partial birth abortion? Allowing trans biological men in girls' locker rooms and girls' sports? Sex change surgery for kids? He seemed like a good guy, but with Brown's voting record, I just can't vote for him.
Sherrod Brown has let us down. When you look at his actual votes, Sherrod Brown is just way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Fan weather
from the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Hey there, Central Ohio. Nice and quiet morning out there. Temperatures will make their way up through the 50s into the 60s by noon, 70s this afternoon. Breezy conditions expected. A small chance for a sprinkle late this afternoon as clouds increase, becoming partly cloudy at times. Temperatures will fall overnight, falling into the 40s, 60s for highs tomorrow. Mostly sunny skies. We'll see another chance for scattered showers Friday. I'm 10 Weather Impact meteorologist Michael Behrens with your latest forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
The uncle you never knew you had. The friends you kind of wish you didn't. This is Bishop and Friends.
And we're sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without the medications. A solution for weight loss is Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Tyvis in, Reese here, I'm here. It is a First Friday. Still time to get your Hey Guys questions into the fellas. We were talking about LeBron James and what happened last night, the history made playing with his son. He was on TNT afterwards and was asked about it. Here is Bron on that.
It's family. It's always been family over everything. And, for me, I lost a lot of time because of this league and committing to this league, being on the road at times, missing a lot of his things, Bryce's things, Zuri's things. And so to be able to have this moment where I'm working still and I can work alongside my son, it's one of the greatest gifts I've ever got from the man above, and I'm going to take full advantage of it.
It's amazing. That's the other part of it. Like LeBron had a mom, obviously, but raised by the city of Akron and by the people in St. Vincent, St. Mary and coaches and all of that stuff. And he kind of turned into the consummate family man. It's the damnedest thing, all of it.
That has to be the best answer I've ever heard an athlete say, because I think that's the thing that people do forget is the fact that you do miss out on the time with your family, because of sporting events and having to travel and stuff. And you do, and that's the thing, especially for his sons that wants to be like him, to know, like, my dad ain't going to be able to come to this game. Like, the most important person, the one person that I actually want to see me play and I want to impress in this game is my dad, and he can't be here. First of all, I'm going to tell you, as a father, that tears you up, first of all, because you want to be there for everything, every good thing, every bad thing. You want to be there for them and coach them through it and help them through it. And when you're not there, that tears you up. But as a kid, just knowing, like, man, my dad's in the stands, so I'm going to play the best I can, or I'm going to show out for my dad, and not to be able to have those moments sometimes, it does affect you as a kid. So, it's nice to see this thing come full circle to where, like, they're doing something that nobody has ever done before, and it kind of makes the sacrifice a little bit worth it, and it makes you enjoy it as a father. Because I know, like, LeBron still wants to compete and still want to compete for championships, but right now I think his happiness is a whole different thing. To, like, now I get to watch my son and play with my son and try to help him become better. Yeah, it's an amazing thing.
It's it contributed to why I got out of television, honestly, because I was watching the boys. We just had the first two at the time when I was still in television. I was like, man, I'm working till midnight. I'm traveling with the Buckeyes every football game, all the basketball games. I'm like, I'm gonna miss everything.
Yeah,
doing this, I ain't gonna be able to coach. I ain't gonna be able to do anything.
Honestly,
I'm very lucky that this profession, this side of the media, allows for the thing that I enjoy most, which is spending time with the boys.
Honestly, that kind of helped lead me into stop playing football when I was. So I had my oldest daughter in 2020, and that was the first NFL season I kind of sat out. So 21, I went to Canadian football. I went to this Canadian league.
Yeah.
And what tore me up was it started in like July. Like the league started, training camp started like the last week of June, and it was like the whole month of July. And then the season started in August. And my daughter's birthday, her 1-year birthday, was in July, and I missed it. And that whole time I was in practice, I just kept thinking about how I missed it. And then the other thing that I missed is I missed her take her first steps. And that one really tore me up. So I had to, like, my wife was able to record it, but like it was at that moment where I was like, man, this sucks. Like, like
where were you? Which team were you with?
I was with the BC Lions.
Wow, you were across the country.
Yeah, I was way gone, and it was just like, man, like at this point, like I don't know if I'm going back to the NFL off of this or not, but like it's not the same. Like my joy is now with my kids more than football. So that's why I say I know how LeBron feels about missing out on stuff because it's tough.
NBA had there was opening night last night. They're going to have, this is a problem. The Celtics played the Knicks first. They
beat the heck out of it.
Was it 43-24 after one?
They beat the heck.
I actually forgot it was on. I flipped over in the third quarter and they were up 28. And I'm like, it's opening night.
Yeah.
Can we not care on opening night? Like, it's Knicks Celtics. It's New York, Boston, for God's sakes. Like, have a little bit of give a damn on opening night, Reese.
Oh, you're going to love tonight's ESPN matchup at 7:30. The Milwaukee Bucks, Tyvis' favorite player, against the Sixers. But I couldn't tell you who the Sixers are trotting out there because Embiid's out for the next week and a half.
And Paul
Wait a
George.
second, Joel. Wait, do we have the breaking news? Do we have the breaking news header?
Breaking was yesterday.
Embiid and Paul George are both missing, and that never happens.
Giannis for 40. That's so watch it for Giannis.
Please don't tell me that Kawhi Leonard possibly would miss a game for the first time as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no way that all those guys would ever miss a game. They never miss games.
Oh, Kawhi Leonard's not playing.
Oh, really? I had no idea. You're shocked. That's shocking. Hey, by the way, so I flip over. I'm bouncing around, and by the way, hold. I got another thought on the bouncing around. I come over. I see the Jackets up 2-0, 3-0.
Yeah.
And they just bury the Leafs
4-0, then 5-0.
And it's like, okay,
5-1.
All right, I guess we're just going to bury one of the best teams in hockey. Now, the Leafs were on the second night of a back-to-back, and sometimes this happens. But that was a spirited effort out of the Union Blue last night, Reese.
Yeah, that can't matter. They're coming off a back-to-back. I mean, I think they beat Tampa, and then Tampa went out and won last night. Look, all 32 teams were in action for the NHL last night. For this Blue Jackets team, you've got, if you smell blood in the water, you've got to pounce. And I think that was what was so important about James Van Riemsdyk had the first goal of the game. And it's like when you can sense that another team's just kind of goofing around or just coming out sluggish, and you can have a veteran like JVR really set the. I mean, Zach Werenski, having him back, I think is also so important for this young team. You can start to play really fearless and really free, and it can be a lot of fun, especially for the sellout crowd at Nationwide.
It was awesome.
Wrapping a 4-game homestand, beat the hell out of the Maple Leafs. I remember Jody yesterday was saying in Toronto they're ready to start the parade, and my eyes got wide when he heard when he said that. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If it was any other Canadian city, I might be like, well, okay, that's plausible. I mean, they're really good. But this is Toronto we're talking about. And they've blown it forever.
That's right. They I thought the way that they starting the second, because Toronto they're like, okay, let's go now. And that top line,
we got a hockey game.
Yeah, well, let's go play a hockey game. Down 3-0. Let's have some fun. Let's come back and put these guys in their place. And they stood up to it. Fantilli, Max Domi with a cheap shot on Fantilli. So you had that as well. So there's a lot going on. But I think that is one of those. And by the way, a lot of Leaf sweaters in the building, as there always is, because it's one of the biggest fan bases you're going to find. So that was sweet. What I was going to say on I'm a man, I'm 40, I get it. These damn apps for the streamers kill me. Yeah. They're absolutely killing me. So my dipstick 12-year-old is downstairs doing like some college football thing last night, and he's got his buddies FaceTiming, and they're doing some season, and I'm like, wait a second, this is my area. So then I have to go to my office to watch TV. So I go to the TV, and it's making me sign in to all of these apps that have been signed in for years. Yeah. Well, I don't remember the passwords on Paramount Plus or Max or ESPN. I don't remember the passwords for this stuff. So then I'm like, well, fine, I'm just going to watch cable. That's what I'll just go back to cable.
Wait a minute. Let me get this right. You got all of these streams and you got cable too?
Buddy.
You know what you should
do? My monthly entertainment bill would take you to your knees.
No, it wouldn't, because I'd be right there. I'm right there with you.
Disgusting what it is.
You know
it's
what?
awful.
By
the way, go ahead.
Why don't you subscribe to everything under Apple, so it's all under the Apple TV thing?
Because I like cable.
No, I'm talking about
bouncing around.
I'm talking about like Paramount and like Showtime.
So all of that can go under Apple TV, but then don't I have to get that thing on every TV?
I mean, you just have the Apple. Yeah, if you got the Apple app, if it goes on every TV.
One password would work for
exactly.
Okay, maybe that's what I need to do is do that. I don't know, but then I got to subscribe to Apple too, right?
Yes.
Hey, did you see this real quick? Because I want to get to Will Howard. Did you guys see the ESPN Plus Monday Night Football ratings?
No. What was they?
1.2 million for a National Football League game.
That's terrible.
Because it was on ESPN Plus.
Actually, you know, that's better.
1.2. That has got to be the lowest rated football game ever. NFL game in the last 25 years.
I thought, because I thought, who has ESPN Plus? Who gets on ESPN Plus?
I think everybody does. I just don't think they know it.
Oh, well, then that's why.
You're right, Reese.
They need to do a better job of telling people.
Every other commercial I felt over the weekend was like that one commercial where the lady's like, this is so exciting. The first time ever on ESPN Plus. And I think we all had the same reaction. Like, yeah, good luck with that. But you juxtapose it to the 27 million that watched Kansas City, San Francisco.
Yes.
That ain't the same thing, guys.
That is not, no.
Wait a minute. I got to clear this up. So for ESPN Plus, you got to like get on ESPN app and then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ain't nobody doing that.
Nobody did. You're right. Nobody did. 1.2. By the way, the WNBA Game 5 against the NFL did over 2 million, so that's a pretty good number for that.
They could have done more if they would have just did it on Tuesday.
You're exactly right. I think someone that was perhaps maybe you interned for at one point said that earlier this week. All right, coming up next, Will Howard took the podium. In Will Do We Trust? Coming up next, Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Bobby Carpenter doesn't have a mullet, but he's knee-deep in mullet energy. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan.
This year's starting lineup at Honda Marysville is as strong as ever, so come see us.
Choose from Ohio's largest selection of Hondas and get 0% for 60 on any new CR-V, HR-V, Passport, Pilot, or Ridgeline with a trade.
Honda's built here, Honda's sold here. Honda Marysville. We're closer than you think.
0% with approved credit and 80% of MSRP financed. 2010 or newer trade with KBB appraisal at $2,500 or more. Must take delivery from dealer stock 10/31/24.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change wants to help ease your oil change anxiety with a few moments of automotive peace.
Just how liberal is Sherrod Brown? Take a look at his actual votes. That's what Debbie from the Cleveland area did.
I thought I knew Sherrod Brown. Now I hear he's super liberal, so I went and looked at his votes. Brown voted to allow late-term partial birth abortions. It's horrific. The AMA said it should be banned, but Sherrod voted for it more than once.
In fact, Sherrod Brown voted for partial birth abortion 6 different times.
Partial birth abortion? Allowing trans biological men in girls' locker rooms and girls' sports? Sex change surgery for kids? He seemed like a good guy, but with Brown's voting record, I just can't vote for him.
Sherrod Brown has let us down. When you look at his actual votes, Sherrod Brown is just way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
Friday nights mean high school football. Join us for the fans' high school game of the week.
This week, Olentangy at Olentangy Berlin.
Live coverage starts Friday night at 6:30. Your home for Friday Night Lights, The Fan.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers. The people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Busy schedule? This is Ryan Krieger, and Krieger Ford has you covered. Krieger Ford offers pickup and delivery, or our mobile service van will come right to you. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Schedule your appointment today only at KriegerFord.com.
Bob Yoakum, president of Rockford Homes, talks about what makes First Bank of Central Ohio different.
I would say it starts by caring. It starts by doing what you say you're going to do and following through on it. When you're talking about local, you're talking about relationships and people that matter to you. I don't care if that's personally or professionally.
Experience what it's like to be first at First Bank of Central Ohio. Visit fbcentralohio.com for more details. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted it close to town with a picture window overlooking a yard. And you found it. Now when you sit down to dinner, you've got front row seats too. Your neighbor's daily pickleball game. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
Can't be home for the game?
Caught for the touchdown!
NFL Plus has you covered with live, local, and primetime games on the go.
What a game he's had.
On your mobile device, you can access live, local Sunday afternoon games and all the primetime action for Thursday night football, Sunday night football, and Monday night football.
Tonight was definitely their night.
Sign up for NFL Plus today at plus.nfl.com/radio. Subscription required for NFL Plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. Buckeyes back to work yesterday. We'll be back on the field on Saturday. High noon kick against Nebraska as Nebraska strolls into town. Last we saw the Buckeyes, they were coming up, whether it be a yard short or a second short against Oregon before an opportunity to perhaps kick a game-winning field goal, which, by the way, Ohio State turned that play into the Big Ten and said, actually, he was down and there should have been a timeout with a second left. So they protested that. I guess on the coaches' film, they had Ryan Day was talking about this yesterday in his press conference that, hey, man, we were signaling timeout as soon as Will went down. There was a second left. And as Tim May's follow-up in the press conference was, yeah, but you had a field that had been stormed at that point too. Like, how do you clear it? It's like, geez, we better have better protocols for this. If that is the case. In the end, it's – how are you going to do it? It's a judgment call of when did you hear the timeout? Is it a split second, half second? Who knows? Either way, I think it's probably an intelligence test that was failed in the case of the Buckeyes in the last minute of that game because it was there to be won and they didn't do it, and they've had to spend what's going to be 2 weeks having to live with all of that. Will Howard was available yesterday. He spoke on the Oregon loss and what he hopes can happen because of it.
Yeah, it makes it real for sure, because you can say it as much as you want, but until it happens, you feel it a little more. And, we talked about we wanted to flush that game, but we're not going to forget about it. And it's going to be in the back of our head. And, we're going to use it. And I feel like this is kind of the point of the season where, I'm almost glad it happened now and not at the end of the season to where, some of those issues that, may have gotten swept under the rug if we win that game, they have to get addressed. And, we're really working at, cleaning up every little thing that we can and I want to be able to look back and say, this is the reason that we went on a run and won a national championship and not, the other way around. And I think we're trying to use this, in the best way as a stepping stone, and everything is still in front of us. And I think it just, if nothing else, gives us a little more extra motivation, because now we know what it feels like, to lose a game and to walk off the field and have that feeling. And I can guarantee you none of us want to feel that again.
Should there be reason? I've just listened to Ryan in his availabilities and listening to Will yesterday during his, and concern's probably too strong of a word, but I've taken note how they have. I just hope they don't throw out the baby with the bathwater, if that makes sense, because the reality is you played a similar talented team, and they played really well too. And yeah, some things you didn't do right. Yeah, down the stretch, okay, fine. Would love to have seen more pressure. We've litigated it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Oregon would probably like to have plays back too.
Yeah.
Inside the 5, making a field goal. They'd probably like a review of the catch that wasn't on the very first drive. And it's very possible that you just got beat by one of the 3 or 4 teams in the country who has similar talent to you at their place at the last second. And I hope that they don't turn this into, we got a lot of things wrong here.
No, they better not.
Do you hear that, though?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I think that when they, let's be real, they get back into there and they watch the tape, the first thing you do is, because I've been on a loss. The first thing you think as a player is I played horrible. Like, it was a terrible game. I missed this play, that play, this play, that play. And then, you start breaking the tape down, and then you start saying, like, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. Maybe we clean up something here, or we do this better right here. This fixes that. And you start to realize, like, okay, at the end of the day, Oregon got really good players too. Like, you go watch them, because you had the week off. You watch them go to Purdue, and I know it's Purdue. You go to watch them to Purdue, and they just go completely dominate, like, up and down the field on Purdue. And it's like, all right, they do. That's a really good team. Like, all right, we lost. But to me, I think it becomes more motivating. It's more inspiring. Like, we lost by 1 point, and everybody in the world thinks that they're just the greatest show on turf right now. And yet we had them beat and only lost by 1 point. So now in my mind as a player, it's, what, let's fix the little minor things that we got to do. We got to figure out a way to get more pass rush. So if we see them again, we fixed it. Of course, our DBs have to stay on top. As a DB, especially like a guy like Denzel, he's going to think to himself, last year I was one of the best. This defense was one of the best in the country when I stayed on top of routes and didn't give up explosive plays. Let me go back to that. I tried to step out of my comfort zone. I tried to make some plays. Yes, I had some success early on, but now I need to realize, all right, I need to get my groove back. What made me good? What made me one of the top corners in the Big Ten was just doing my job, staying on top of routes, eliminating explosive plays. So he's probably going to go back to doing that. And then the biggest issue to me is the offensive line, that left tackle spot, because the run game completely disappeared. It completely disappeared once Josh Simmons left that game, and even though Tegra came back. But the run game, to me, just kind of disappeared. And moving forward, we can't go back to just it being a 7-on-7. Yes, we can do it, but we've realized that once we get deeper into the season and we get to the CFP and the Big Ten Championship, we have to have an ability to run the football. And I think they got to find a way to get that back.
This is what was so important in the offseason and at the beginning of the year when Ryan Day would talk about having not only depth, but depth that can play multiple spots. Mm-hmm. Depth that can play multiple spots at a high enough level to where you lose guys on your starting 11, and while there is a little bit of a drop-off, it doesn't affect the game plan too much. And to your point, Tyvis, like, does Zen Michalski have a short leash Saturday against Nebraska, where if he's not doing his job, are you making a switch at halftime? You're making a switch into the second quarter.
It's probably the only position group where depth is a problem.
Mm-hmm. I tell you what, though.
Everywhere else, I think you could have some injuries, but on the offensive line, there's not a ton of depth, quality depth there that's tested. And one thing to pay attention to, and we talked about this a lot throughout the season, but, like, folks, we're not halfway yet. Halfway is the Penn State game. If you're going to win the national title, halfway is after next Saturday in Happy Valley. That's the halfway point of the season, folks. So think about this. You think you got injuries. Think of the haymakers that are being played in the SEC on a weekly basis. And how are those teams going to come out of it? This will be about survival more than anything else in college football.
Well, I tell you what, that offensive
line,
it's
going to be like the NFL.
That offensive line going to get tested this week because Indiana, first of all, Nebraska going into that game gave up no rushing touchdowns, which I think I said last week. Indiana scored 5 of them on the ground. And Indiana was their offensive line, because I got to talk about it on Saturday, so I've done some studying, so I know exactly what I'm talking about here. Their offensive line did an amazing job getting to the second level. Like, they got hands on linebackers and got creases for them running backs for Indiana to do something against Nebraska. If our offensive line can't do that, like it's eye-opening. Let's just say that. I'll be my eyebrows will get raised a little bit.
I think I told you guys I'm taking the whole family to the game on Saturday, and the boys are like, "Well, it's Nebraska. Indiana just beat them 56-7. It's going to be a blowout." And I'm like, "Fellas,
you better hope
you don't know. You just never know until you strap it up and see." And yeah, I think that offensive line is going to be the thing that you're watching, is because this is the reality of it, and this goes back to the Will Howard conversation, and it comes back to that conversation of throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't do that. This team, to be what it intends to be, has got to be a physical team that can run the ball when you know it's going to run it. That's it. That's what it is. Because there are weapons in the pass game, but there are also some limitations. We've seen that with the deep ball and that. And we know that Will can do it if he has to, but you've got to be able to run in November and in December. And if it works out to the point where you're hosting a playoff game because you lose another game somewhere, it's going to be brutal conditions here to play a game. Mm-hmm. You've got to be able to run the ball. That's who they are. That's why they have the 2 backs they have, and Will's a runner, all of those things. So that is something that's critical, and you're going to find out, I guess, where you stand on that this week with Nebraska, because you just saw them against Indiana. The Huskers are coming to town. You'll hear from Matt Rule from their side of things coming up next. He'll talk about that ground attack of the Buckeyes and his fear of it. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Unlike your deadbeat uncle, we'll never leave you stranded in a ditch when you were 6. This promo may have been a touch too specific. The Fan.
Looking for your next Subaru? At Byers Airport Subaru, we give you options from start to finish. Browse and shop entirely online from the comfort of your home at columbussubaru.com, or stop by and visit one of our friendly brand specialists just by the airport.
Right now, you can get a new 2025 Subaru Outback for 2.9% for up to 72 months.
Whether you prefer to click or come in, we've got you covered. Your journey starts at Byers Airport Subaru. Come see why it's better to buy at Byers.
Subject to credit approval. Financing offer term up to 72 months on 2025 Subaru Outback. Cannot be combined with any other incentive. See dealer for details. Offer ends 10/31/24.
Post Malone is teaming up with Raising Cane's to empower the next generation of artists. For a limited time, 2 exclusive double-sided Post Malone posters are available at Raising Cane's. So post up your combo at Cane's while supplies last and support a good cause. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
The Christmas cash giveaways now at UDF. With UDrive Plus, 1 in 7 can play to win prizes instantly, including $1,000 weekly by buying specially marked items at UDF. No purchase necessary. Visit udrivecontest.com for official rules.
At AAA, it's our policy to look on the plus side, and AAA Plus members tend to take the same view. Take Martin. Last Monday, his coffee surprised him with an extra 10 degrees of Fahrenheit. It was just the jolt of energy he needed. Later, when he walked into a door, he was happy to provide entertainment for his coworkers.
I'm okay.
And when his car battery took early retirement, he knew expert roadside assistance was only a call away.
Hello, AAA.
Become a AAA Plus member and experience peace of mind on the plus side. Towing is subject to a 7-day waiting period. Terms and conditions apply.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where Ohio Basement Authority comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at ohiobasementauthority.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change will help ease your oil change-anxiety. Picture an oil change that's quick, not rushed. When you hear the bell, feel yourself becoming light as a feather. Now, let go of your oil change-anxiety. Visit Valvoline Instant Oil Change today. No automotive worry, no appointment needed.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
It's football season, and Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for all the action on the gridiron. With a game-changing rewards program, plus an amazing selection of tickets, Vivid Seats ensures that every fan can catch their favorite teams and players in action. Vivid Seats has you covered with deals that cater to every football enthusiast. And all tickets come back by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan. Find us on YouTube. Search WBNS Radio and you can see what Bo looks like. But only if you subscribe. This is Bishop and Friends.
Nebraska rolling in here on Saturday. Matt Rule. They started the season nice. They went with Raiola from the beginning, and they're still, look, for them, it's be bowl eligible, get to 7 wins, try to get to 8, something like that, and hopefully you have some momentum going forward with Raiola. They've thrown a ton of money into the program. It feels like Matt Rule has the program at least on stable footing, something that was not there with the previous coaching hires. And the hope is that Raiola can be a catalyst to get other people to go to that program, and maybe they can get back to being at least, they're never going to be what they were, but being at least a quality Big Ten opponent. It's pretty stupefying to me, and I covered this, and I don't recall it this way, but I had no idea, now looking back on it, that the first time Ohio State and Nebraska ever played in football was in 2011 when they entered the Big Ten, and we made the trip to Lincoln. They won that game 34-27.
That was the first time ever playing?
Yes. That's 7-1. We're 7-1 all time against Nebraska.
And we
That's the first.
That
was no. That probably not. That was Boserman, right?
It was a meltdown. No, I think Braxton played that game.
Is that when Luke made the switch?
I'm pretty sure Braxton played that game, and we were winning in the first half, and I think we lost. I think we were about 24 points or something, and they came back and won.
I remember it was a thrilling comeback on their side. Obviously, Luke was coaching that team.
I was still in high school, so don't.
Yeah, it was
quote me
20-6 at half.
20-6.
Braxton Miller started at quarterback, 5 of 8, 95 yards and a touchdown. Carlos Hyde had 104 yards on the ground and 2 scores.
So they led 27-6.
20-6.
I'm just reading the AP story right now. Ohio State built a 27-6 lead.
Told you.
In the third quarter.
They blew like a 12.
Braxton Miller behind freshman quarterback. This is it. Behind freshman quarterback Braxton Miller, who sprained his right ankle in the third quarter and did not return. So Braxton went out in the third, and they were up 27-6 when he did. Now
the Bowserman passing chart lives on.
Oh boy, gosh. Does it? Yeah, poor Joe. Poor Joe.
Because they're tied 27-27, and Bowserman gets picked off.
Yeah. So then the games that follow go like this. In 2012, 63-38.
I was there.
2016, how about this one? 62-3. 2017, 56-14. 2018, 36-31. 2019, 48-7. 2020, 52-17, and the last time we played him was in 21, and it was 26-17 was the final in that one. The reality is what everybody in the Big Ten thought Nebraska would be when they extended the offer and asked the Huskers to join. They have failed to be as big as you can fail to be. It's a tough spot now, and he's trying to build it. They've gone with a bunch of different coaches. Matt Rule coming off of certainly one of the more embarrassing losses of his tenure. Not that they lost to Indiana. Everybody knows Indiana's good, but the fact that they got absolutely slumped, 56-7. Matt Rule addressed that. Here's his thoughts on it.
As a head coach, I think you always have to start with, like, what do I regret? What do I not regret? You know, coming out in the second half, it's 28-7. We drive the ball down there. It's 4th and 8, 4th and 9. You know, probably should have kicked the field goal there. You know, the analytics say no. The analytics say go for it. And there's a big part of me that, like, wants to show the guys that you're always playing to win. And it felt like a lot of times in that game we were playing not to lose. And I think defensively, the minute you lose that edge of I'm playing to win, where you're trying not to lose, a really good defense becomes very average very quickly. But I put them in harm's way in the second half by, you know, going for them 4th down, trying to get back in the game. You know, at the same time, I probably shouldn't have done it. I don't know that I regret it, if that makes sense. Like, I kept saying to Giff on the sidelines, hey, I can't wave the white flag. I can't not try to get back in this game. But to answer your question, so I think that's what made the score so bad. But, you know, we from the very beginning, we were not tackling at the level we're capable of. We were not that first 4th and 3rd and 1, you know, if an unblocked defender there doesn't make the play. So it just was bad all around.
You've been to a lot of places on your Big Ten tours, on your Fridays into your Saturdays. Mm-hmm. You know what the best in this league can be, and you certainly know what the next level can be. Mm-hmm. What can Matt Rule build at Nebraska? What's reasonable?
I think they can find a way to get to 10 wins. The thing is, Nebraska's not a place, as you know, it's just dropped in the middle of a cornfield. It's not a place that's all that appealing. However, their fan base is something nice, you know. If he can find a way to get to 10, which is gonna be tough. I mean, if Dylan Raiola becomes the guy that everybody thinks, you know, that's gonna be attractive to a lot of players in the portal. You know, I think that you can, even in recruiting, you know, if you got a quarterback that's good, that people believe in, that can get people there. I think that they are missing some weapons on the outside. Defensively, like, would I go to Nebraska? No, I would not go to Nebraska. But there is a lot of history there, and I think that that's the thing. They got to sell some of these kids on the fact that if you put Nebraska back on the map, you are forever a legend, ever.
Oh, yeah.
They will love you forever if you put Nebraska. And I think you got some kids in the portal, and you got some kids in high school that look at that and accept that challenge because they want to help build something and leave a legacy. But most kids want that ring, and I don't know if Nebraska's going to get that ring.
There's a company headquartered out of Omaha called Berkshire Hathaway, and Warren Buffett is the boss of that company. And there are a bunch of billionaires with a B who have done so because they are employed by that corporation. And when you're talking about the portal, that's what they need to lean into. Mm-hmm. They need their wealthy boosters. Because guess what? You said as a defender, would I go there and want to play? No. But what if I offer you $500,000 more? Now you're listening.
My eyebrow is raised.
That's right. Now you're listening. And that's Nebraska's roadmap to 10. Can they get bowl eligible? They've got 5, so they're close. Here this weekend, UCLA at home is a must-win.
They better win now.
That's must-win. Then they're at UCLA. So great job, Big Ten. Why not play USC, Nebraska week 1 in the idiots? Just idiots. Why not have Nebraska open Big Ten play at UCLA instead of Indiana, even though Indiana's the better team? It would have rated. Both of them would have been, God, so stupid. Then they got Nebraska at home. I'm sorry, Wisconsin at home and Iowa. They got so that's 5 left. If they can go 2 out of 3. They go 2 and 3 in that stretch. That's 7 and 5. Okay, They haven't been bowl eligible in forever.
The bowl eligibility is big. Like, you can't come this close and not get it. Because they did that last year. Actually, I covered it. They was like, they had the 5th win, and they had like 5 opportunities, and they lost every last one of them, and it was unbelievable.
Yes. All right, second hour of the program coming up next. Jake Trotter, 10:33 on college football. We'll play a little higher or lower coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Common Man and T-Bone are idiots. You should listen to them anyway.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan, Ohio's idiot destination.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. I love my Kubota tractor, RTV, and zero-turn I got from Green & Sons, and you can check them out online at greenandsons.com or visit them in store in Mount Sterling or north of Marysville in Raymond for all your Kubota needs.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
This year's starting lineup at Honda Marysville is as strong as ever, so come see us.
Choose from Ohio's largest selection of Hondas and get 0% for 60 on any new CRV, HRV, Passport, Pilot, or Ridgeline with the trade.
Honda's built here, Honda's sold here. Honda Marysville. We're closer than you think.
0% with approved credit and 80% of MSRP financed. 2010 or newer trade with KBB appraisal at $2,500 or more. Must take delivery from dealer stock 10/31/24.
Hear those leaves crunching under your feet? Feel that cool nighttime air? It's definitely fall in Ohio. Fall is the perfect time to have the Waterworks inspect and tune up your furnace before the cold winter months hit. To inspect and protect your family against those wintertime furnace breakdowns, call 614-232-2222. Or visit thewaterworks.com today to schedule your fall furnace inspection and tune-up. Winter is just days away.
Attention small business or sole proprietors. Do you want to save money on health care for your business? Be able to cover your employees with the best dental, doctors, and hospitals? Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter for the SACA Benefit Plan. Nearly 100,000 members strong in the state of Ohio. The SACA Benefit Plan is administered by Anthem and could be right for you. Small businesses, visit 844-MEDOhio.com. That's medohio.com. The SACA Benefit Plan could be right for you. Visit 844-MEDOhio.com.
We all know Central Ohio is growing fast. It's making traffic worse and life more expensive. That's why voting yes on Issue 47 is so important. Issue 47 will help folks get to work faster and cheaper by creating COTA Rapid Bus Service. That means more routes, better hours, and more reliable service. That will expand access to transportation for everyone in our community, from the elderly to the disabled, to veterans and students. And Issue 47 will make our neighborhoods safer and more walkable by building 500 miles of sidewalks, trails, and bikeways. When we pass Issue 47, we'll get $1 billion in matching funds from the federal government to pay for it. We're already sending our tax dollars to D.C. Let's bring some of that money home to help our community. Issue 47 means safer neighborhoods and a better quality of life for our families. It's an easy call. Vote yes on Issue 47. Paid for by moving Central Ohio forward.
Are you ready to unleash the beast? Monster Energy is here to give you the edge this college tailgate season. Loaded with bold flavors, our powerful blend gives you the energy you need to push you beyond your limits. Tune in all season long with Monster, the energy drink of ESPN Radio College Football Tour. Power your performance with a drink that's as hungry for victory as you are. Crack open an ice-cold Monster and dominate your competition. Monster Energy. Unleash the beast. Grab yours today.
Great game. You got into the end zone again and again. How'd it feel?
Awesome. Like getting a new iPhone again and again. I just got the new iPhone 16 Pro today.
Really?
Yeah. And with AT&T Next Up Anytime, I can upgrade early every year.
Very nice.
Feel like an MVP again. Learn how to get the new iPhone 16 Pro on us and the latest iPhone every year with AT&T Next Up Anytime. AT&T. Connecting changes everything. Offer subject to change. Additional fees, terms, and restrictions apply. $0 offer may not be available on future iPhones. Next Up Anytime feature may be discontinued at any time. See att.com/iPhone for details.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reese, sir. We're less than 2 weeks out from the NFL trade deadline. It'll be after Week 9, Tuesday, November 5th. Earlier today, the Chiefs acquired former All-Pro wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins from the Titans in exchange for a conditional 4th-round pick. Week 8 in the NFL begins tomorrow night in Los Angeles. The Rams host the Vikings at 8:15. Sunday at 1, the Browns host the Baltimore Ravens. Jameis Winston will start at quarterback for Cleveland. Deshaun Watson had his torn Achilles surgically repaired earlier today. In college football, number 4 Ohio State hosts Nebraska Saturday at noon. Buckeyes are 25.5-point favorites. Hear from OSU's head coach tomorrow at noon on the Ryan Day Show. And in the NHL last night, the Blue Jackets beat the Maple Leafs 6-2. They're in Nashville to battle the Predators Saturday night at 8 p.m. This update sponsored by Valley Ford of Columbus, Bronco Explorer, Mustang Mach-E, and more. Ride into autumn with Valley Ford of Columbus.
The best hair on the air. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a First Friday Miracle Edition. Still time to get your Hey Guys questions into Reese at 971-BFS. We will answer those coming up at 11 o'clock. Tyvis Powell in studio with me. Reese here as well. Jake Trotter coming up at 10:33. Time for a little higher, lower. Hit it, Reese.
Bishop and Friends present Higher or Lower.
Sponsored by The Waterworks. The Waterworks, your undefeated team of plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling. Call 614-232-2222 today.
Only 2 more weeks until the college football playoff reveal. Well, the first one.
Yeah.
November 5th. Mark that on your calendars if you haven't already. Going to be quite the busy day for everybody. Go vote.
And?
Be mad about the college football playoff rankings.
And?
Your team selling or not doing enough in the NFL for trading.
That's all November 5th, folks. All of that stuff is that Tuesday.
Voting, CFP release, and trade deadline?
NFL trade deadline.
I just seen something about Deontay Johnson expecting to be traded.
Yeah, they're going to be. The receivers are going. We'll get into that coming up in 15 minutes. One thing, fellas, that I think is going to be incredibly illuminating, and we're going to do this with the AP poll, and I think that they'll use this as a starting point for their poll. And honestly, I don't think they should do a poll because I think they're going to entrap themselves by doing a poll. I think it's stupid because people are going to say, wait a second, you had them here. And remember, they're making television shows. So, like, the poll is such a waste of time and can get them in trouble. How are they going to, pose this to both of you, how are they going to judge teams who are not playing like schedules? How do you judge, for example?
That's the biggest question mark right there. Because
right. How are they going to do it?
I remember talking to Ross Bjork. Ross Bjork talked about this.
Yeah. Friend of the program.
He was saying that this year is going to be telling because if some teams get ranked high, but they ain't playing nobody from strength of schedules, that's going to impact scheduling moving forward. Be like, okay, because it's Ohio State. For example, if Ohio State didn't play anybody, because it's Ohio State, if they're undefeated, are they still a top team? To whereas, I don't know, Ole Miss, they go through the juggernaut of the SEC. Their out-of-conference game was a big-time game.
Yeah.
But they lost 2. Where do they land on that? Like, but they was close games. Like, where do they land? Like, I guess that's the question that everybody's trying to figure out.
You can do it right now, Reese. Look at the Big 12. I had this wrong. I thought the Big 12 would cannibalize itself. That's not what's happened. The cream has risen to the top, and you've got 2 undefeated teams in the Big 12 sitting at 10 and 11. You got Kansas State sitting at 6-1 is 16th. How do you judge BYU versus Notre Dame? How do you judge BYU versus Alabama? Their metrics are not the same.
Not at all. I mean, see, what's going to happen is, what you about to say is records ain't going to mean a thing in a while. That's where it's going to seem like it's going to get to, and it's going to go off of just solely the eye test, and I don't think that that's the fair thing either, since records have meant everything since the beginning of time. I think you got to...
It's tough.
I don't because the thing is, if BYU played Alabama, who's favored in the game?
Bama.
See, that's...
But you can't do that either, right? Because... Go ahead, Reese. I know you had a point.
Well, I was just going to say how interesting it'll be on November 5th when we're, watching to see how this gets laid out, the first college football playoff reveal, and then how things get explained the way they are. Because if you're looking right now, Week 9 is the week we are going into in the college football season. In the AP poll, 59 of the 61 first-place votes are going to Oregon. Georgia's at 2 with 2 first-place votes, followed by Penn State, Ohio State, and Texas at number 5. Higher or lower for the Longhorns there?
I think it's the sweet spot for them. This is probably where I would have them. I think they're better than Miami. I do. I think Miami is they're Miami's 6. I think this is the right spot to put Texas. And I think that the AP did a very good job with Georgia, Ohio State, and Texas by not burying them for quality losses.
Yeah.
And people hate that word, but it is. Ohio State losing at Oregon is a quality loss. Nobody wants to lose ever. I get it. But when talent equates, you don't always win, okay? Georgia went to Tuscaloosa. Talent equated. They battled back. They lost a close one. Texas, talent equates against Georgia. They're down big. They made it kind of interesting in the second half. They've been really impressive with everybody else they've played. They shouldn't drop to 10. They shouldn't be punished that heavily by playing someone on their schedule who's talent equated.
Let me ask you a question. Who is Texas' best win?
Well, all right. So here's the thing. It's a good question out of you.
Thank you.
Here's the thing that I think I've always done in college football. You have to judge teams based on, this is how I do it. I believe you have to judge teams based on who they were when you played them. Because teams change.
Okay.
Injuries happen. Things happen.
That's fair.
So
That's fair.
Michigan's ranked 10th in the country when they beat them 31-12. Now, we know Michigan is not the 10th best team in the country, but they did go to Ann Arbor at that time and bury them.
Yeah, they did.
They buried them. It wasn't as close as 31-12 would lead you to believe. It could have been 50-7 if they wanted.
Yeah.
And then their second best win is the rivalry game against Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma has no offense, but they buried them 34-3.
Okay, so let me ask you about Miami. Who's Miami's best win? Because the ACC is not, unless it's Clemson or SMU or something like that.
Well, the problem for Miami's best win is probably the win at Louisville. They won by 7. They won 52-45 against a Jeff Brom team that's really well coached. That's probably their best win. They were lucky to survive at Cal. They won that one 39-38 to get an officiating help. They barely got through Virginia Tech. This is why with Miami, that's why I think Miami at 6, it's the right spot. Like, they've been flirting with it for 3 weeks, guys.
Yeah.
Their best win is probably at Florida week 1, going into the swamp and burying them 41-17. That's probably their best win.
Okay, I have no beef with 5 and 6. Though, if you wanted to flip them, whatever. But if you want to leave them like that, I have no problem with it. I'm cool where it's at.
Here's the problem for Miami, guys. And Reese, I know you know this. They play Florida State this week. Florida State's 1-6. Then Duke. Then at Georgia Tech. Then Wake Forest. Then Syracuse. They don't play Pitt, who's undefeated. They don't play Clemson, who has 1 loss. And they don't play SMU, who has 1 loss. None of them. They don't play.
They're gonna be one of them teams that get upset in the first round of the playoff or the second round because they'll get if they win the ACC, they'll get the bye.
I don't know what the tiebreakers are in the ACC, but it's a mess.
I do know that Clemson has Pittsburgh, and I'm not sure about SMU on that schedule. But I know that Miami will see all 3 of them, any of those 3, until the ACC championship game.
SMU does not play Clemson or, as we mentioned, Miami. SMU does play Pitt in 2 weeks.
That's a good one.
But they don't. And by the way, SMU's perfect in conference play. Their loss is against BYU. That's their only loss. They lost 18-12 against BYU. That's the only loss.
They coming back.
Tennessee's at number 7 on the AP Top 25 going into Week 9. LSU's at 8. Clemson, like we mentioned, is at 9. Iowa State's at 10. BYU's at 11. Notre Dame is at 12. Indiana is 13th. Higher or lower for the Hoosiers there?
The Indiana thing, like, at some point you got to start putting some respect on it. Like, I get it. because they got the same thing about who they've beaten, like what's their best win, and I'll hear that. But they have completely dominated the teams that they. I mean, outside of that, like statistically, I think they got the number 1 scoring offense, and I think they got the number 7 scoring defense. So, like, it's not just the fact that they're winning games, like, amongst the country. Like, they're, like, one of the best teams. So, at some point, you got to respect it. But, unfortunately, it's not going to happen until the Ohio State game.
Yeah, if they don't they have they got Washington and then Wisconsin. Is that their next 2?
Michigan State's their opponent next week.
Oh, Michigan State. They got Washington this week though, right?
Yeah,
correct.
Washington.
Okay, hosting Washington and then Michigan State. So, and they got game day there, so they could get the bump. The team that I think is really interesting is of those teams you just mentioned, the one with probably the best win is Notre Dame. They went to College Station and beat A&M 23-13. In that game, and they beat them their own way. If Notre Dame doesn't lose to Northern Illinois, and I watched that game when they lost to Northern Illinois, which was a stupefying. They could not get off the field. And Northern Illinois has proven not to be much. If they don't lose that, is Notre Dame ranked what? 2nd in the country? 3rd in the country? They buried everybody else they played.
That's not fair because the LSU beat Ole Miss, who was the top, they might have been top 5 at the time.
At the time, yeah.
Tennessee beat Bama, who was top 10.
No, I'm saying I'm saying the sliding doors moment of how Notre Dame loses at home to Northern Illinois. If that doesn't happen, Notre Dame is sitting there at 2 or 3. You're saying
sure. I'm talking about quality of wins.
Quality win.
You're saying that they had the best win out of this group, and I'm like,
Tennessee probably does, right?
Yeah.
Although it's at home, Tennessee's at home. They went to College Station. Notre Dame did.
That does make a difference. That 12-man thing, they take that serious.
Yeah, they're crazy.
It's a cult. At 14, Texas A&M, like you mentioned. At 15, Alabama. 16, K-State. 17, Boise State. 18, Ole Miss. 19, Pittsburgh. 20, Illinois. Higher or lower for the Hoosiers there?
You mean the Illini?
What did I say?
Hoosiers.
Oh, yeah.
It does feel like Indiana and Illinois are the Spider-Man gif, even though they go about it very differently. I think it's about right for Illinois. But do you guys see the problem? And I mean you two and also audience. How in the hell am I going to compare Kansas State and Boise State? How am I going to compare Alabama and Pittsburgh? How do you do that?
I don't know, because the conference play, when you think
they're
about
playing different.
I think at this point, you just strictly go off of wins and losses.
Illinois' only loss is to the number 3 team.
And if they're unblemished record-wise, you throw them in the top 25, and then you just write them down.
Here's the thing that I'm going to tell you is going to happen. The 2 most powerful entities in this sport are the Big Ten and the SEC and their television partners. So if you're going to want to bet on something coming up, aces, it'll be those 2 conferences coming up aces. And it'll be the Big 12 teams and the ACC teams left out in the dark. That's what's going to happen.
I mean, that's sales. It's going to get eyes. That's going to sell.
That's our 9-3 is better than your 11-1. That's what it is.
And the Illinois thing is interesting because, like I say, their only loss is to the number 3 team
Penn State
in the country, which they lost by 14?
21-7, I think.
Yeah. Just real quick to my earlier point, it'll be the most fascinating thing about the reveal in 2 weeks will be how they explain what they've done with these teams outside of 8 through 12.
Yeah. And do they entrap themselves by saying something that they later have to walk back? NFL trade deadline is a couple of weeks away, but a lot of action already. We have a starting quarterback in Cleveland for this week as well. We'll get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Wake up with The Fan. Eat lunch with The Fan. Go to bed with The Fan. Dream about The Fan. Then change your sheets. Gross.
Ew, you guys are gross, but stick around in case I don't find anyone else.
The Fan.
We've seen it before. Politicians and lobbyists playing games, drawing voting maps to keep power in their hands, not ours. Courts have ruled Ohio's voting districts unconstitutional 7 times, while our communities have been left out again and again. But this November, you have a chance to change that with Issue 1. Issue 1 will make it illegal for politicians to manipulate voting districts for themselves or their own party. Instead, it creates an open, transparent process where where a diverse group of citizens, not politicians, will draw the lines. No more backroom deals, no more gerrymandering, just fairer maps that represent our communities. Issue 1 gives you and me the power to ensure everyone's vote counts. This is about real change, a chance to end the games and make our voices heard. So vote yes on Issue 1, fair representation, and power to the people. Paid for by citizens, not politicians.
Hey, Buckeye fans. As the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics, Roosters is kicking off an incredible giveaway you won't want to miss. This football season, we're giving away 12 ultimate Buckeye experiences. 3 drawings, 12 winners with prizes including tickets, sideline passes, and 2 trips to a Buckeye postseason game. Go to roosterswings.com to register and see all the details. 3 drawings, 12 amazing prizes. Register today and every day. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
It's Rocktober, baby!
It's Rocktober at Lindsay Honda.
Just announced for the rest of Rocktober, we're lowering the finance rate to 0.9% on every new Lindsay Honda. And you still get the Lindsay Honda difference. A $1,295 value package included with every vehicle purchase.
This is it!
Turn up the noise with Lindsay Honda.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24 and 25 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
A.J. Hawk won a national title, a Super Bowl, and a Lombardi Award, but his weekly appearance on Morning Juice Fridays at 8:33 is the real highlight of his career. If he tells you otherwise, he's lying.
Sponsored by FanDuel.
The Fan.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. And when it comes to fall, we often think of those cooler temperatures, the trees changing colors, the bonfires in the evening, and of course, football season. We less often think of those home projects that we've been neglecting or failed to finish up before those harsh Ohio winter hits. If you need to have your roof inspected or it's on your to-do list, you can ensure that Newman Roofing will get you ready for those harsh winter storms. The team over at Newman has you covered, and they're family-owned and locally operated right here in Central Ohio since 1992. The 3 generations that have been in the roofing industry, they have the expertise to handle any issue you may be facing with your roof. Folks, they took care of my roof. They did a fantastic job. They're the experts, and they will give you the white glove treatment because when your name is on it, it just means more. So if you need your roof repaired or replaced this fall, call the company you can trust. That's Newman Roofing at newmanroofing.com or 614-NEW-ROOF.
You know, Ohio's Supreme Court makes headlines for the wrong reasons. They even ruled it's okay for boneless chicken wings to have bones that can choke kids.
But we can stop their extreme one-party politics by voting for Mike Donnelly, Melody Stewart, and Lisa Forbes for Ohio's Supreme Court.
Right. Ohio's newspapers say Donnelly, Stewart, and Forbes are the clear choice.
We need an experienced, independent court we can trust, and Donnelly, Stewart, and Forbes will judge the Reproductive Freedom Amendment fairly and honestly, protecting our rights, safety, and families.
Ohioans deserve independent justice, transparency, and equal treatment under the law. That's why we really need Donnelly, Stewart, and Forbes to provide checks and balances.
Don't stop fighting for your rights, freedoms, and choices. But do remember to vote for Mike Donnelly, Melody Stewart, and Lisa Forbes.
Paid for by Donnelly for Supreme Court, Stewart for Ohio Supreme Court, and Forbes for Justice.
Low energy, brain fog, or bloating? Your body might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to help your liver detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Looking at a great afternoon out there. Mostly sunny to start, but a few more clouds come in later in the afternoon, possibly with a stray sprinkle or two as a weak front passes by. Highs will go from the mid and upper 70s today down into the 40s overnight, with highs only back into the low 60s for tomorrow. Mostly sunny skies will be back by Thursday. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
Bo knows many people. He talks to the interesting ones on this show. This is Bishop and Friends.
Sure, Uncle Bo here. Erectile dysfunction is a terrible condition, causes stresses in relationships, creates anxiety, undue hardship on a man and often the partner as well. Yet many men out there suffer for years without seeking treatment, and there's a solution for that. It's my friends that that I recommend on so many fronts when it comes to men's health issues, Tri-State Men's Health. It's certainly a given that better medical practices generally lead to better outcomes for patients. And if you suffer with erectile dysfunction, you want that good outcome, and that's where Tri-State Men's Health practices better medicine. They're the leaders in treating men's sexual health issues throughout Central Ohio and the region as well. In fact, they have treatments that work upwards of 90% where the pills and herbals fail. So do yourself a favor and schedule a consult with Tri-State Men's Health here in town. Your initial visit is $99 and includes that medical consult, licensed medical provider, a TNPSA test, and medically advised test dose. If it doesn't work, guess what? The office visit's free. So it's a no-lose win-win for you. Give them a call today. Get that sex life back on track. 800-900-9654 or visit TriStateMen'sHealth.com today. 2 locations here in town. Quick exit off 270 in Hilliard and then their Medical Mile in Westerville as well. We have a busy morning in the National Football League. DeAndre Hopkins is a Kansas City Chief. He is the third marquee-ish receiver who has been dealt already. You had Devontae Adams last week. You had Amari Cooper last week. And now you have D-Hop going to Kansas City. They were in on Cooper Kupp and did not want to give up. LA was asking for a second-round pick is what's being reported. And they didn't want to give up that high of a pick, so it'll be a 5th for Hopkins. How much does he have left in the tank, and what will playing with Mahomes do for him?
I think now, is he going to be the same D-Hop that he once was? I don't think that's the case. However, I don't think he needs to be. I think when you think about Patrick Mahomes, I think he's going to do a really good job of getting the ball and distributing. I think that they got the speed. You know, with Xavier Worthy, with Mecole Hardman, you got guys that's going to stretch the field. The problem with those two in particular that I just named is they're not always consistent in catching the football. There could be some drops there to where a guy like D-Hop, listen, he's going to win his one-on-one. If you put it in the area, he still can catch really, really well. And you think about Mahomes last year, that was the big problem. They had all these guys that can get open or that can run these routes, but they kept dropping the ball. So I think you get him a safety blanket. Obviously, Travis Kelce's going to be there, but now you got a receiver that's a tall guy that's got a really good catch radius. You put the ball in that area, he's still going to make the plays, and I think he still has the ability to get open because, like I said, you got those other guys that's going to stretch the field, that's going to take the safeties out of it, that takes the top off defense and let him and Kelce dice up the middle.
I mean, it's crazy. Like a team that just keeps winning, even though they're not being what they once were offensively, and then they get kind of another weapon and another sure-handed weapon. Cooper Kupp on the table as well. He could be dealt. The Rams are looking for a 2. There were rumors yesterday. I saw some of the reporters in The Athletic reporting a rumor of
the Vikings.
Yes. So the deal would have been Matthew Stafford to Minnesota. Sam Darnold would have went back to L.A. In addition to that, some picks. Stafford's under contract this year and next. So it would have been a 2-year situation for Stafford. Remember, his offensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl with the Rams was Kevin O'Connell.
Yep.
So I know McVay calls plays, but it would be a seamless thing for Stafford to go run that offense. I'm sure the terminology is almost identical, and certainly the concepts would be.
You know what,
Same thing with Darnold to L.A.
You know what? It would actually make sense. I was sitting there thinking when I first seen it, I was like, why would they want to do that? But now it makes sense. You drafted J.J. McCarthy. Sam Darnold's having a really good year. And now if you keep him, you're forced with the decision. Well, do we pay this guy or do we go with J.J.? To where if you get Matthew Stafford this year, he's already going to come in. We already know he's a gunslinger. You'll be fine this year. Next year, as J.J. is still rehabbing, he can learn from Matthew Stafford and then take over the Rams to where Sam Darnold goes to the Rams. They probably extend him. He gets a fresh start there with Sean McVay, still running the same offense, and he can get paid and be the quarterback of that franchise for maybe 2-3 years.
He could be the bridge.
Could be
the bridge quarterback and look, if something like that were to happen, I was talking to Joe Thomas about this yesterday, who was at the end of his career was almost dealt to Denver and would have won a Super Bowl protecting Peyton Manning. And apparently the way that happened, he told an incredible story. Elway leaked it to the Cleveland media to try to get Joe's attention because Joe was such a head down, just do your job type of guy that he never, ever thought about playing anywhere other than Cleveland.
Right.
And Elway leaked it to the Cleveland media and said, hey, Joe Thomas could be on the block. Manning called Joe. And Peyton Manning called Joe and said, basically, You need to go do a number 2 on ownership's desk so they trade you. Like, I need you in Denver right now is what I need. And Joe, in the end, decided not to. I've asked him about it. He said he never considered it, but then I kind of put his brain in a pretzel because I was like, can you imagine? Like, you'd be on the Manning cast. You'd have won a Super Bowl. You probably would have lived in Cherry Hill. You probably would have. Denver's gorgeous. You probably would have settled there.
Yeah, it is nice.
It's a crazy what if. For Joe on that side of things. And regret, I don't think he lives his life that way. But when you think about the Brown, I could see that with Joel Bitonio. I could see it with Zadarius Smith. A lot of those cats could be out the door.
The funny thing about Joel Bitonio is that he got old fast. Like, don't get me wrong. He's
playing through a lot.
Yeah, but... And then the Zadarius Smith, with the way he's playing, I think he's tied with the Browns leader with sacks with 4. Mm-hmm. So he's got some value there. I tell you what, it's going to be a lot of people that I think the Browns, they're going to pick up the phone and try to inquire about. You know, you say those 2, you know, you still got a G New. You know, you still got to make a decision on him. So I
think all of those, they would say yes.
Yeah. I mean, you got to acquire something. You got to get some picks. Because you're not going nowhere this year. And it's unfortunate, but that's just the reality we live in. And you got to figure out how can we build this thing back up. Now, the problem is, are you going to hit on them picks? If you're going to deal these players, are you going to hit on those picks?
Well, that's the ownership part of it, right? Are they going to allow for the people who put this together to rebuild it?
Yeah,
that's what it is. It'll be Jameis Winston this week up in Cleveland. They take on Baltimore. My hunch on this, guys, is it'll be Jameis for 2, bye week, and if DTR is healthy, it'll be DTR the rest of the way.
That sounds that fits kind of how they do things up there. Because I think they did that it was flipped last year. It went DTR, then he ended up getting hurt, and Joe came in, and then the rest is history. To me, like I said, I just think that it's something about him, DTR, that they just love. And
I'll tell you what it is:
the leadership, the arm strength, the
salary.
That too. That makes a big point. You got a good point right there.
Because if he can be capable, then they can try to build everything else around it while he's manageable and they're not forced to have to go acquire another quarterback.
I keep saying that the only thing that can save this Deshaun Watson error is if DTR becomes the Brock Purdy of the situation, to where we thought Deshaun was going to be the guy. We paid him. We trade everything. He didn't work out, but we lucked up and drafted DTR, and he takes over and becomes the guy like that.
That's what saved Kyle, and that's what saved John Lynch in San Francisco, because they gave up a lot on Trey Lance.
Yeah,
they gave up a lot, but Purdy saved him. Yeah. Jake Trotter up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The only radio show Ryan Day listens to when we're holding him hostage, making him listen to a radio show. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Men, if erectile dysfunction is affecting you, getting treated could have a dramatic impact on your relationship and your outlook on life. But it's also important where you get treated, because your health matters. And working with an organization that practices excellent medicine and has significant expertise in men's sexual health can often result in a far better outcome. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And if you're seeking a quality provider to treat your ED or are just not satisfied with your current situation, call us. We'll show you a true 5-star experience and work with you to find the right treatment for your specific medical situation. At Tri-State Men's Health, we truly are experts in men's sexual health. But it's more than that. Unlike the online pill pushers or so-called men's clinics that only offer one or a few treatment options, we offer the full spectrum of ED protocols. We can even use combinative therapies for better results. At Tri-State Men's Health, your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Just how liberal is Sherrod Brown? Take a look at his actual votes. That's what Debbie from the Cleveland area did.
I thought I knew Sherrod Brown. Now I hear he's super liberal, so I went and looked at his votes. Brown voted to allow late-term partial birth abortions. It's horrific. The AMA said it should be banned, but Sherrod voted for it more than once.
In fact, Sherrod Brown voted for partial birth abortion 6 different times.
Partial birth abortion? Allowing trans biological men in girls' locker rooms and girls' sports? Sex change surgery for kids? He seemed like a good guy, but with Brown's voting record, I just can't vote for him.
Sherrod Brown has let us down. When you look at his actual votes, Sherrod Brown is just way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Guess what? Our ugly faces are on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan and watch all your favorite shows. Laptop, phone, tablet, smart TV. We're everywhere. Bring us in the bedroom with you. Yes, The Fan.
Ready to be the change and have a positive impact on your community? Consider joining the Columbus Division of Police. Starting pay is $70,000 plus, growing to 6 figures after 4 years of service. We offer paid vacations, paid holidays, and health insurance. Do you aspire to complete your degree? We offer 100% tuition reimbursement after you complete your first year of service. Contact the CPD recruiting unit at jobs@columbuspolice.org or apply online at columbus.gov/government/jobs. The City of Columbus is an equal opportunity employer.
What's better than cheering the Buckeyes on to victory? Wearing our exclusive collection of OSU jewelry as you watch. Hi, this is Alex Johnson from the Diamond Cellar. We're an officially licensed jeweler of The Ohio State University, and we've created beautiful Buckeye jewelry that will last a lifetime. From Blocko earrings to Diamond Script Ohio necklaces, we've got luxury Buckeye gifts starting at $99. No matter where you're watching, show your Buckeye love at the Diamond Cellar, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey, it's Anthony. If you want to make the best deal in town on a new Honda, make sure you visit my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin. They're on Sawmill Road, just south of 270. And Rich tells me you're going to get 1.90% APR up to 60 months on most new 24s and 25 Hondas. They'll give you the details. Of course, you'll get same-day service, no appointment needed. And how about an extra $1,000 for your trade if you have a 2014 or newer vehicle? All with the great people at Germain Honda of Dublin.
You want Jersey Mike's signature sub, you get a number 13 original Italian. You want a dramatic radio idea? You get me. Like this. I'm the 7th-string quarterback and the other 6 quarterbacks go down. The coach yells, DeVito, you're in. The crowd is worried until I throw a touchdown. But the other team is celebrating. Apparently, I threw the Jersey Mike's number 13 original Italian I was eating on the sidelines. Whoops. The number 13 original Italian, Jersey Mike's, a sub above.
Looking to sell your home? Don't pay 6% commission. Call my guys at Sell for 1% Realtors. They're full service, not a do-it-yourself kind of thing. On average, customers save over $10,000. Give them a call, 614-451-6616. That's 451-6616.
Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Let me introduce you to a man with a magnificent salt and pepper beard. A man who's currently roasting lamb on a spit. A man who runs the Rocky River Greek Festival. That man is Jake Trotter.
Indeed it is, and he joins on the Bryan Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Bo and Tyvis here with you as well. All right, buddy, let's start with this. We are a couple of weeks from the first college football committee playoff poll, which, as an aside, I think is absolutely foolish that they do because I think they could entrap themselves. And I'm asking you to put yourself in the mind of the people on that committee. How do you think they are going to judge teams who very clearly are playing entirely different schedules from a challenge standpoint?
Yeah, it's a great question. And we've seen the committee vacillate between different factors over the years. I think that they typically, though, will look at who you've defeated more than anything else. And so, you look at what Georgia was able to do. You look at Oregon's win over Ohio State. I think those type of victories are going to stick out. And then, conversely, they look at, who you've lost to. And that's where I think Notre Dame could get hurt by the Northern Illinois loss, even though that's their only one. And really, they had the A&M win, which is looking a little bit better, but, maybe not a ton of impressive victories. So I've done those, this before it was a 12-team playoff. This is back when it was 14. But I've done mock selections with committee members before in Irving, Texas, or is it Arlington? I think it's Arlington, Texas, or maybe it's Irving. I don't know. Wherever the Gaylord, Texas.
It's a Marriott, right? Or is it a Gaylord hotel? Yeah, I would have thought for sure it was like a JW Marriott.
Wherever that hotel is in northern Texas, and those are kind of what you take away from it. It really comes down to who has the best wins and who has the worst losses, and then you kind of go from there.
Jake, obviously, the Indiana Hoosiers really put it on Nebraska last week, 56-7. Do you think that win put more pressure on Ohio State this week against Nebraska?
No, I don't think so. I think that the Oregon loss put pressure on Ohio State. And, listen, this is a game that you should take care of business. I mean, Nebraska, I thought that they would be better than they have been this year. They're still going to probably get to a bowl for the first time in 7 years. But defensively, they just have not been super impressive. They had a really bad loss, I thought, to Illinois a few weeks ago, a game they should have won. And I know Indiana's well coached. I know they've got good players. That's just not a game Nebraska should lose. I mean, that's the third biggest loss in Nebraska history.
Crazy.
So I think that game is more about Nebraska. I don't really look at, now Ohio State's got to beat Nebraska by just as much as Indiana did. What I think is Ohio State needs to take care of business and then go get a quality win against Penn State the following weekend. Because to Bo's question earlier, Tyvis, you look at Ohio State's resume, and because the non-conference and the first month of the season was so soft, I think the Buckeyes are right there with anybody. But from a resume perspective, they're kind of missing that marquee win right now because of what happened at Oregon. They have really good laws, but they don't have – I mean, what's their best win? Iowa at home?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to stack up when we talk about playoff seeding.
No, it's not. It might end up being at Michigan State by the time you get there. We were talking about Nebraska, and you talked about worst loss in Nebraska. Two other programs that have a history and have been – I mean, Nebraska's been off the grid for a decade, so it's been a long time. More than that, really, in terms of a national contender 2 decades. But you talk about Oklahoma, a program you know very intimately, and USC, a coach you know very intimately. This ain't going well in either spot. What do you make of the situation with Venables at Oklahoma and Lincoln at USC, and which one is more salvageable between those two?
Yeah, I mean, you look at college football, and I would put, Michigan, Florida State, and even Nebraska on the list of, like, these blue blood programs that are having super disappointing seasons. The expectations were probably different at every stop, but I think in all 5 cases, it's just not gone very well. Do you guys know that Oklahoma is next to last in the country in offensive EPA? Kennesaw State is the only team that is worse. And that's how bad OU's offense has been. And it wasn't that long ago before when they had the top offense in the country, when they had, Baker and Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts, even Dylan Gabriel. They were very effective offensively. They fired their offensive coordinator this week. Seth Luttrell used to be the head coach at North Texas, was a fullback for Stoops back in the day. They've got major problems on that side of the ball. And I don't know, other than their non-conference game against Maine, I don't know that they're going to win another game the rest of the year. I think USC is probably closer to being a playoff contender because, I mean, they have been in every game that they have lost. They have just collapsed in the fourth quarter for various reasons, whether it's time management, can't make a tackle in the case of Michigan, whatever. But they did beat LSU, and they've had a chance to win all these games. They just can't close the deal. So I think both head coaches are under pressure, but Oklahoma just seems to be so much further away from contending in the SEC because of just total inept offense. I don't know if you guys watched that South Carolina game. It was 21-0, and I don't even know South Carolina had attempted a pass yet.
Jake, I couldn't believe they bailed on Jackson Arnold that quickly.
Well,
I mean, he's threw the 3 picks against Tennessee, but it's like they just punted on him, and now he's back the starter. It's nuts.
Yeah, and their offensive line is so bad that it doesn't matter who they play at quarterback. Like, if you watch them, there are guys in the backfield before anybody can do anything. And everybody in the SEC is a good defensive line to an elite defensive line. And they're getting ready to play. They're 20-point underdog at Ole Miss this weekend. That's their biggest spread since the 90s, the John Blake era. And they're going to be a huge underdog against LSU on the road. They're going to be a huge underdog against Alabama at home. And they got to go to Missouri as well. I would not be surprised if they lost all 4 of those games. And then, Venables is going to be in a situation next year where he's got to perform, or if they're going to be looking for a new head coach. And this is where you get into the Nebraska spin cycle, where you just start hiring and firing coaches and changing schemes, and you never develop any kind of continuity in recruiting and, offense or defense. And then all of a sudden you look up and you've had 7 losing seasons in a row. And we talked about this, Bo, and I wrote about it before the season.
You did.
Oklahoma, there was the scenario in which they became SEC Nebraska. And right now, it's exactly what they look like.
Before you did the college football, you did the Browns beat. And I know you do the post-game show.
You sound like you was just talking about the Browns when you just said everything you said about Oklahoma.
Sound like the Browns.
I was
Honestly,
like, man.
All right.
The best comp for the Browns offense is probably Oklahoma right now.
So this is the question. You know how that operation works. What do you think they do to get this on some sort of level footing throughout the rest of this season and the offseason? How do you think this plays out?
Well, they're going to lose a lot of games this season. I actually think that they might be a little bit more effective offensively with Jameis, just because they're going to throw the ball downfield, you would think now, whereas with Watson, they just were not. It was just check down central or taking sacks. They're probably going to have a top 5 pick. They've got to take a hard look at taking a quarterback because, you don't know when you're going to be back in that position again in terms of the draft order. But here's the deal, Bo, and you know this. I don't know if Jimmy has had enough. And it ultimately is going to come down with the quarterback situation to what Jimmy has and wants to do. And I mean, it was kind of inexplicable that they didn't give somebody else a chance, but Jimmy made this massive investment in Deshaun Watson, and he's at least was determined to see it through. They can't get out of the contract, okay, at least until after the 2025 season. So Deshaun Watson is going to be on the roster next year.
Yes.
Is he a backup? Is he a bridge quarterback now? Does he even want to play in Cleveland anymore based on what happened Sunday where, fans are cheering when he gets injured and booing him out of the tunnel? And it is just a mess of epic proportion. And I think, Bo, the window is officially closed on this era. Like, I don't see how the Browns get back to becoming a contender. They've got great players, but their cap sheet is just it's going to be an abomination going forward. They're going to have to shed players. There's no one to me that they have drafted who has not signed an extension yet in the last 3, 4, 5 years who I'm excited about other than Martin Emerson. So you're getting ready to see like a really old, aging team without a lot of up-and-coming talent, major quarterback questions. It's the worst situation in the NFL, and it might be the worst situation in sports.
Other than that, it's great, though. Other than all that. Good talking to you, buddy.
See you guys.
As always, Jake Trotter, senior college football reporter at ESPN, and, of course, formerly on the Browns beat. We hit Thing or Not a Thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We're known for 3 things: games, conversation, and common man yelling about things only he cares about. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. Quality, transparency, integrity, craftsmanship, and consistency. Those are the words that seem lost by many in the construction industry, but not on Newman Roofing. Because when your name is on it, it just means more. NewmanRoofing.com.
Welcome, Columbus, to the all-new Toyota Direct. We've expanded our showroom, enhanced our service with 6 lanes, 85 bays, and 65 techs. Enjoy the new lounges with all of the comforts and extras. And now get 0% for up to 72 months on 100% of all new 24 and 25 Toyotas. Come see your all-new Toyota Direct, the area's #1 Toyota dealer.
0% for 72 on the new 24 Tundra with approved credit. Max financed MSRP on vehicle. Cannot combine offers. Must take delivery from dealer stock by 10/31/24. See dealer for details.
If you're struggling with ED or your performance is down and your belly fat is growing, listen up. You've got one life. Now is the time to act.
At the Columbus Men's Clinic, we're not just healthcare, we're your secret weapon. Don't wait another day. Here's why you need to act right now.
Every moment you delay, your condition could worsen. It's not just about sex, it's about your heart, your relationship, your life.
The Columbus Men's Clinic has over 10 years of proven results for low testosterone and increasing drive, energy level, and performance. We've introduced ED and enhancement treatments so exclusive, you'll wonder why you waited.
Procrastination is the thief of time. When it comes to your sexual health, you can't afford to wait. Join the League of Gentlemen who've walked out of our doors with a swagger.
Call the Columbus Men's Clinic at 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. Book your $99 male performance consultation now, including blood work. Call 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. The Columbus Men's Clinic, making it happen.
Open a Platinum Rewards Visa at Kemba Financial Credit Union and secure super low everyday rates so you can pay down debt faster. Apply now at Kemba.org to unlock 2% cash back on purchases for a limited time and pay 0% interest for a full year on balance transfers plus exclusive perks. Restrictions apply. Offer ends October 31st, 2024.
There's nothing like having Common Man and T-Bone resting on your bosom.
Oh, for someone with no breasts, you've done very well for yourself.
Gross. Pick up the latest T-shirt in the fan store or pick up merch from a show you actually like. We even have Ohio State and jacket stuff. Head to 971thefan.com.
This is Barack Obama. Ohio, you know about hard work. The kind it takes to run a business, feed your family, and help your neighbors. Sherrod Brown knows about it too. Sherrod works hard to deliver for Ohio, but he also respects the hard work that you do each and every day. And in the Senate, he's fighting to protect the dignity of that work. He's keeping jobs from being shipped overseas. He's taking on corporations that gambled away pensions and jacked up prices while raking in record profits. And he's a champion for freedom, whether it's the right to vote or the right of women to make their own healthcare decisions. Ohio, we can't afford to lose Sherrod's voice in the Senate. We need him to keep working hard for you. So make sure to vote by November 5th.
I'm Sherrod Brown running for Senate. I approve this message.
Paid for by friends of Sherrod Brown. At Metal Supermarkets, we're all about getting you and your crew to quit in time sooner. That's why our service is a cut above. You see, no matter the project, we'll get you to the right metal, shape, and grade. Cut to any size, ready real fast. And yeah, we'll deliver, leaving plenty of time for the important things, like opening an ice-cold can of aluminum. Metal Supermarkets, the convenience store for metal.
Nothing makes being outdoors better than having the right gear and the right crew. So here's an idea. Let Mountain Dew supply the gear and you bring the friends. Because when you buy specially marked multi-packs of Mountain Dew, you can collect points and earn epic limited edition outdoor gear. We're talking everything from custom Mountain Dew camp chairs and backpack coolers to exclusive Mountain Dew tents, fishing boats, and more. So buy Dew, collect points, get gear, and get outside with Mountain Dew outdoor gear.
Open to legal U.S. residents 18+. Subject to program terms at dewoutdoors.com and 12/31/24. Void or prohibited.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Right Way Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Connect with the show on X at 971BFS. Jump in our YouTube chat or just send a raven. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And still time to get your Hey Guys questions in at 971BFS. Reese will tackle those there. Time for a little thing or not a thing. Hit it, Reese.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
On Monday, former Alabama quarterback A.J. McCarron was on a podcast with SEC beat writer Neil McCready and former Alabama staffer Tyler Siskey. and said about the current state of his Crimson Tide, everybody's worried about effing TikTok and having a reel and being on highlights for their personal self and personal gain and how much money you can get from NIL. We just didn't have that bleep back then, end quote. McCarron also said about quarterback Jalen Milroe, it's hard because I like the kid a lot and I think he's a good college player, but he's just not the quarterback that he wants to be. That's fine. There's many a different quarterback now, but when have we seen him be accurate? I'm saying it from the get-go. He hasn't progressed from last year to this year in any form, end quote. Thing or not a thing?
That's a pretty brutal thing on Milroe. I think that's way off balance. Milroe played himself to damn near wasn't he a Heisman finalist last year by the end of last year?
Yeah,
Close.
Top 5, I think.
And he was spectacular in their game against Georgia. The problem is they only got one threat, and it's a 17-year-old in the pass game. And he is overly locked in on him. And if you watch him play, like I think in the game against Tennessee, he had 20 targets. Ryan Williams had 20 targets. That's insane. In college football, they have 20 targets to one dude. So that's the problem. The first part, the fact that A.J. McCarron sounds exactly like me trying to parent a 12-year-old is terrifying. But that's what I say to my idiot 12-year-old.
He's definitely the old guy in the room. Listen.
Oh, I'm trying to rizz him up on Snap, Dad. Sure.
I don't think... Let me see. Okay, because see, I consider myself, it's this great song by J. Cole called Middle Child, and I feel like I'm the guy that's in the middle. Like, I'm not that far removed from it, but I also am removed from it for quite some time. It wasn't quite the same when I was there. I get, and on top of that, I did do some NIL work too, so I understand. I get that it seems like that players are more dedicated to TikTok and doing all those things and for NIL. But I do think that there is a nice balance. You know, some of the guys that I used to deal with when I was in my role, you know, it was times where they was like, you know, I can't do that right now. I got this. I got film and stuff. So guys do understand the big picture. That's the thing. NIL has not changed the fact that these players still see the NFL as the bigger picture, which I was proud to learn that.
It's awesome.
With that being said, you know, when you with NIL, you got other obligations. You know, you got things that you do have to do when it's in the contract. So they have to make those time to get those things done. And it can take away from some of the preparation. But as far as Jalen Milroe goes, I think you hit it on the head. When you only got one threat, it's like if I'm playing Alabama, there's only one dude that I'm looking to stop, and that's Ryan Williams. That's it. The rest of them, I don't even know who they are. They're nameless. Them losing Isaiah Bond was one of the biggest things that happened to that program. If they would have had him and Ryan Williams, I think this Alabama team would be much more successful. You can't say that Jalen Milroe isn't progressing because he's had games where he's looked absolutely amazing. Yeah. Georgia game, who is number 2 in the country right now, he went out there and it was like 28-0, and it was so fast. They head spent around. So people figured him out. They got to hit the reset button. They got to get that run game going again. You think about Alabama and the historic runs that they've always had some guy at the running back position that was very effective. And right now, I just don't think they have that guy right now. So it's putting a lot on Jalen Milroe's shoulder where he's actually the running back and he has to be the quarterback. Like, he's like Josh Allen right now with no talent around him. That's what's going on.
Both Colorado and Cincinnati are 3-1 in Big 12 play. The Buffaloes will host the Bearcats Saturday night at 10:30. On Tuesday, Deion Sanders addressed the status of Travis Hunter, who's been limited the last 2 games with a shoulder injury. Quote, Travis is better than last week. I think he'll have more productivity because he's feeling much better than last week. You can just tell with his little giddy up and the way he goes about life. A little more pep in his step today. I think he did some conditioning today for sure to make sure he's on point with his conditioning because he never tires. And we want to keep that what it is, but I think we will certainly contribute a lot more than he did a week ago because he's healthy, end quote. Thing or not a thing?
When you first started reading this, I had to remember if these two teams were in the ACC or the Big 12. It's Big 12. That's right. That's where they're at. That's how crazy. Colorado, Cincinnati are Big 12 teams. 10:30 kick for this one. Jeez, that's brutal. Even out there, that's 8:30 kick. That's crazy. Travis Hunter, what would you do if you were him? Would you, because he's very likely going to be the first position player off the board in the draft. I don't know what he is as a pro. Is he a corner or is he a receiver? He's probably more valuable as a corner.
According to one of my good friends, he's bland at wide receiver.
He's bland. Well, your good friend would know. All right, so if he's a corner, like, does he chase down the Heisman? Does he continue to do these 100 plays, or does he see the big picture instead? What would you do if you were him, or if you were coaching him?
If I was him, I think he's in a unique situation. You know, if you want the Heisman and you've made it clearly known that you want the Heisman, then you know what you got to do. You got to continue to do both sides and be effective on both sides. However, at some point, you're going to have to make the decision. And personally, I know that, well, actually, it's starting to even up, but I think that he does last longer at corner because some of the plays that he makes at corner is more freakish than the ones that he makes at wide receiver. So I personally see him going into the league as a corner. Not saying that he can't be a wide receiver. I think he's a little bit better and a little bit more advanced, and I think he'll play longer if he plays corner, especially taking some of these injuries that he's taking now already. Yeah. But if I'm him, I'm going for the Heisman. I'm going to continue to play both sides and continue to be effective because it's the only chance you'll get to actually – like this is the closest you've been to it. This is the only chance you'll get because you're gone after this year. So why not? Go for it all.
The Colts are having a press conference this morning, and DeForest Buckner was speaking with the media. And then he went into the locker room and brought out someone dressed in an Oregon Duck costume. Well, it turns out that the person in the Duck costume was Tyquan Lewis. So Buckner played at Oregon, Lewis played at Ohio State, and that must have been paying off that bet for the Ohio State-Oregon game.
You know what, Defo? This is why. So I played with Defo and Eric Armstead with the 49ers. And, sometimes I would sit down and I would have lunch with them. And the rule was I can sit there with them. I cannot bring up the national championship game. That's it. They were not willing to talk about it.
They're not having that.
Yeah, so if I was Tyquan, that's what I would have brought my rings to practice that day. That's what he should have did.
We'll do a little Hey Guys coming up next. You're officially endorsed as well. Final hour on a First Friday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Here's a listener tweet. Can I tase Common Man in the nuts? Fine by us, but he may like it. Common Man and Tebow.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan.
Direct auto insurance is for uncompromisers. Like Matt. When his old car insurance got so expensive, do you think he walked until his sneakers wore out? No, because he found savings with Direct Auto so he could drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25% on state minimum coverage, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a free quote at directauto.com or a store near you. Savings vary, terms apply. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com, and use promo code JUSTSPORTS to get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We've seen it before. Politicians and lobbyists playing games, drawing voting maps to keep power in their hands, not ours. Courts have ruled Ohio's voting districts unconstitutional 7 times, while our communities have been left out again and again. But this November, you have a chance to change that with Issue 1. Issue 1 will make it illegal for politicians to manipulate voting districts for themselves or their own party. Instead, it creates an open, transparent process where a diverse group of citizens, not politicians, will draw the lines. No more backroom deals, no more gerrymandering, just fairer maps that represent our communities. Issue 1 gives you and me the power to ensure everyone's vote counts. This is about real change, a chance to end the games and make our voices heard. So vote yes on Issue 1, fair representation and power to the people. Paid for by citizens, not politicians.
Now is a great time to start your holiday shopping at Meijer. Save big this week with our early holiday deals. Save $40 on a Gourmet air fryer. Save $30 when you buy a Keurig K-Slim single-serve coffee maker. And for the competitive ones on your gift list, select board games are 20% off. Shop even more great gift ideas like these in the Meijer Holiday Gift Guide. Available on Meijer.com, in-store, or in the Meijer app. Exclusions apply.
It's Rocktober, baby!
It's Rocktober at Lindsay Honda.
Just announced for the rest of October, we're lowering the finance rate to 0.9% on every new Lindsay Honda. And you still get the Lindsay Honda difference. A $1,295 value package included with every vehicle purchase.
This is it.
Turn up the noise with Lindsay Honda.
With approved credit on select in-stock 24 and 25 Honda models. Dealer contribution may affect consumer cost.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's got to be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Okay, everyone, what did you think of the chocolate bar?
It's too chewy.
Feels kind of chalky.
Too much nougat.
I need to go brush my teeth.
Business is booming for Steph's small marketing research firm.
After all these focus groups, there's only one conclusion. I need more researchers.
And she's way too busy researching.
Does this have peanuts?
To waste time researching resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Number 4 Ohio State hosts Nebraska Saturday at noon. It'll be homecoming for the 5-1 Buckeyes, who are 25.5-point favorites over the 5-2 Cornhuskers. Hear from OSU's head coach tomorrow at noon on the Ryan Day Show. In the NFL, Week 8 begins tomorrow night in Los Angeles with the Rams playing the Vikings. Sunday at 1, the Browns host the Ravens. Jameis Winston will start at quarterback for Cleveland. Deshaun Watson will have his torn Achilles surgically repaired this coming Friday and is looking at a 9-month recovery. In other news, the Chiefs acquired 3-time All-Pro receiver DeAndre Hopkins from the Titans in exchange for a 5th-round pick. Hopkins only has 1 touchdown on the season, but had more than 1,000 receiving yards in 2023. And in the NBA, the Cavaliers open the season tonight in Toronto versus the Raptors at 8 p.m. This update is sponsored by BMI Federal Credit Union. Enjoy rates as low as 9.90% APR with a Visa credit card from BMI FCU. Apply at bmifcu.org/Visa.
First Friday miracles are always better with Uncle Bo. This is Bishop and Friends.
You're officially endorsed coming up at the end of this hour. ChrisFedorCleveland.com on the Cavaliers and the NBA coming up in 30 minutes. Time for a little Hey Guys. Hit it, Reese.
Nothing is off limits. Your participation is required. Just use the hashtag #HeyGuys and ask anything you want. Do it now.
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 2 restaurant locations in Grandview and Gahanna. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, winner here gets the $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank, the free distillery tour, the tasting for up to 10, home of the best blended whiskey in America, now 3 years running. Stop by the 3 locations, Grandview, Gahanna, Westerville. Enjoy the award-winning spirits for your next happy hour. The food's incredible as well. Make your reservation at highbankco.com. Drink local, drink High Bank.
All right, we'll start in the YouTube chat. W.Dynamite asks, what did you collect as a kid that you wish you still had?
So the answer to this used to be my sports cards, my trading cards, my baseball cards, my basketball cards, my NFL cards, all of that stuff. And because my dad's mom, like every kid my age, their dad's mom allegedly threw out all their cards. Everybody had Mickey Mantle. Everybody had all these cards that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars now, and their moms all threw them away. That was the story we were told. So guess what? All of us kept our cards. So like 2 years ago, my dad drove out and brought a bunch of my stuff from Montana, included my cards. And I'm like, oh, baby, here we go. Let's see what we got here. Do we got some good stuff? And so NBC was like 10 at the time, and he had this thing, and he was into cards where you could like see the value of a card on an app. Mm-hmm. And so he would take a picture of the card and it would show up what it was worth. And like my most prized cards were worth like $1.80. They were worth more when I was a kid than they are now because everybody my age kept them. So that sucks. That really sucks. It's just awful. That was a brutal blow. 40 years of keeping things and for nothing. I wish I had my G.I. Joes. I liked my G.I. Joes. Be nice if I still had those.
I wish I still had I had a whole book of Pokemon cards. And not that I'm into Pokemon, but the book. So let me explain. I had a whole book of Pokemon cards, and my grandmother took them away from me, okay?
Misbehaving.
What did you do?
I don't recall what I did, but
something wrong.
But my grandmother took them away from me, okay? And I was upset about it. So my grandmother had left me at home alone, and I decided to ransack the entire house to find this book of Pokemon cards because she gonna give me my cards back, okay? Well, I never found them, and my grandmother went and got a Switch, and it wasn't a great day for me. Make a long story short, I get to college. My grandmother then says, you know what, I meant to tell you, go look in that pantry right there. And I go look in there, what is it? My book of Pokemon cards. She gives them to me like 15 years later.
That's a long con.
The problem is, I today don't know where that book of cards is, but I had some good stuff in there, and I'm mad because I don't know what I did with it. But those Pokemon cards became near and dear to my heart because I took a butt whooping for them. So
yes, you did.
There we go.
Yeah, I think Pokemon cards are the same answer I was going to give because I too had them all neatly organized in a binder. And I just have no idea what ended up happening to them. I'm going to also say my N64 and games because I had such a great collection. Mm-hmm. And just over the years, they just got lost. And I would love to have all of the games that I had back with all of my save data. Because if you ever try and play Super Smash Brothers and get an S, it's so damn impossible. Like I'm nowhere near as good as I was. And I'm not trying to spend all of that work. At least not anymore. Jonah asks via Twitter, hey guys, as you all have mentioned, this is the best time of the year in Ohio. In your opinion, what is the most underappreciated or unknown aspect of Columbus? His example would have to be the river flowing through downtown.
That is a beautiful sight, actually.
You know the damnedest thing about this, and Reese would know it because he's a Central Ohio native. Tyvis, by the time you got here, it was probably already being kind of developed and made to be a focal point. But when I first moved here in 2007, the river here was treated much like the lake was treated in Cleveland, largely ignored.
Yeah.
And they've done a lot to make it kind of a focal point now. And even stuff as simple as like, and if you'll notice this when they show Ohio State games on national television, they now will show that shot, looking north from downtown with the river winding through. So you actually see it now the way that you previously didn't. I think probably, I don't know if it's underappreciated. I think most of us who have lived here would, but the metro parks are pretty damn great here. And I think if you live here, you know that. I don't know outside if you know it. And the other thing I would say that's really not maybe appreciated enough is the commute here is actually pretty good. Like, it seems bad because you don't have another point of reference, but in some cities, the commute is impossible. And we don't have that. We're pretty well designed.
It takes 20 minutes to get from point A to point B pretty much anywhere around here.
Very well designed.
For me, that's interesting. You know what I'm starting to appreciate more, and I really neglected it for the time that I've moved here, but up until recently, it's like a cool place for me. The Columbus Zoo / Zumbizi Bay. Those two.
With the kids?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're zoo lights and all of those things. Like, it's so much that they do at the zoo that's, like, really cool. And, like, I neglected it for so long, and shame on me. You gotta start
That was
attention.
the best babies. When the boys were little, that was the best babysitter we had.
Yeah.
Go to the zoo.
Yep.
What are we doing today? Let's go to the zoo.
Yeah, a lot of cities are starting to do this, a lot of the suburbs. But on a Friday or on a Saturday in the summer, early fall, they'll close off streets and do street festivals.
Yeah.
Like if you've got the opportunity, for Ohio State bye week, they're perfect. Or even in the summertime, I'm thinking Bexley, Grandview, Westerville, Dublin's got just great areas where they just close off the street and let people walk around, farmers markets. Like the sense of community is so strong here. And I think that's known, but I don't know if it gets appreciated enough, and it should. A lot of places have great parades as well. I don't know if you've heard about this one in Upper Arlington.
Oh my goodness.
The mayor.
Top 5 parade, I'd say.
In the world.
In the country of the world.
What parade? What holiday are you referring to?
The 4th of July.
The fact that you ask. I mean,
Independence Day.
It's his Christmas.
The day we celebrate our freedom as Americans.
Can I go with you next year?
I saved you chairs last year. I put them out in March.
No, you did.
Yes, I did. Tied them to a pole on Zollinger Road. You didn't show.
Sad. Very sad.
John asks on Twitter, hey guys, if you could alter the end of one sporting event, what would it be? His example is the 2016 World Series, Game 7. I'm assuming, John, because he would have enjoyed it more.
That's, for me, of recent memory, it would be the Browns versus Kansas City.
3rd and 14 with Chad Henne?
Yeah.
Not like it bothers me or anything.
Either that or Rashard Higgins fumbling or the helmet-to-helmet missed call.
Just so we're clear, you played in the Michigan State game in 15.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? You know what?
If you win that game, Coach, you guys are back-to-back national champions and viewed by many as maybe the greatest college football team ever.
When they ask me these questions, I take my personal life
You go fandom, which I think is interesting. But like, it's like, wait a second, hold on. Like, what if?
That's 100% the correct answer right there.
Jeez. I mean, that what if, when people talk about the greatest college football teams of all time, they go to this 19 LSU team, they go to 01 Miami, they go to 95 Nebraska, they go to these teams. If you guys beat Michigan State in 15, you win the national title. You were the most talented team. You were the best.
I don't even remember who won it all that year. That's
Bama, I'm sure.
They played Clemson. Probably.
Sure, it was Bama. And if that happens, that 14-15 would be the answer to a lot of trivia questions of, is this the best team of all time?
Yeah. Why would you bring that up?
I just thought you would.
I told you.
I wasn't going to take it because it was yours. I thought, well, God, that's got to be it. Like, that's the one. I mean, that's the one that sucks.
I mean, if you would, I would go further than that. I mean, if I could change one thing, I would make Ohio State take the bowl ban in 2011, sit out the Gator Bowl, then let us go against Notre Dame in 2012, win that national championship. If I could also get a second, I would take us to change the Big Ten championship loss to Michigan State, because we go on to win that championship, and then take it 2 more years after that. You do your answer. We go 4 times in a row, 4-time champs.
Here's the thing that is so stupefying about your time there is how near all of those things were. Like how close you were to 4.
Yeah.
You got 1, and probably the most improbable.
And we would have won 4.
14's the most improbable of those 3 teams, because 12, you're playing Notre Dame for the national title.
We'd have won.
I like your chances. 13, that FSU team was real. That's Jameis's Heisman year. They had dudes.
Yeah, it'd have been a good one.
But it would have been Urban against Jimbo. I like those odds.
If our defense would have stepped up in 13, we could have did something. Our defense was terrible in 2013. Braxton and Carlos and Philly and Jeff and Devin would have had to put up like 56 points for us to win it.
Yeah. I'm not sure you would have beat Florida State. Florida State was really, really good. But you were there, and you're right on the bowl ban.
There's also the, what would have been, 2022 Peach Bowl. If Noah Ruggles' 50-yard field goal just goes right.
Yeah.
how different the college football conversation is?
We got to get off of this close stuff at Ohio State. Like, we got to get it done. Like, this close stuff stinks.
Yeah, there were so many that were right there. All-timers. Yeah. All right, we got to do a winner?
Correct.
Let's go Jonah, because it made me all warm and fuzzy thinking about taking the boys to the zoo. We're going to go Jonah. Jonah, you get the $50 gift card to our great friends at High Bank. You get the free distillery tour and the tasting for up to 10. It is home, of course, of the best blended whiskey in America, now 3 years running, right here in town. Make your reservations, highbankco.com. Visit the 3 locations in Grandview, Gahanna, and Westerville. Enjoy it all. I promise you will. Drink local, drink High Bank. Coming up next, the Cleveland Cavaliers open up tonight. I also want to dig back in a little bit on that question I asked Jake about how to begin to right what is wrong with the Browns with the choice of Jameis Winston. We'll get into that as well. Chris Fedor coming up at 11:33. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State athletics, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
If you're struggling with ED or your performance is down and your belly fat is growing, listen up. You've got one life. Now is the time to act.
At the Columbus Men's Clinic, we're not just healthcare, we're your secret weapon. Don't wait another day. Here's why you need to act right now.
Every moment you delay, your condition could worsen. It's not just about sex, it's about your heart, your relationship, your life.
The Columbus Men's Clinic has over 10 years of proven results for low testosterone and increasing drive, energy level, and performance. We've introduced ED and enhancement treatments so exclusive, you'll wonder why you waited.
Procrastination is the thief of time. When it comes to your sexual health, you can't afford to wait. Join the League of Gentlemen who've walked out of our doors with a swagger.
Call the Columbus Men's Clinic at 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. Book your $99 male performance consultation now, including blood work. Call 614-300-7400 or visit columbusmensclinic.com. The Columbus Men's Clinic, making it happen.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry, I think I invented something. Does it solve a problem? It solves a big problem.
Get Eco.
ECO. Heating and cooling companies are telling people your furnace and AC isn't worth fixing. You need to replace it with a whole new system.
You invented a solution for that?
I invented a way to fix those systems for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
That's a great invention. How does it work?
Step 1 is to pay ECO to fix it.
I thought you said you'd fix it for free.
Step 2 is that we give you back all the money that you paid us, up to $1,500 when you get ECO to replace it.
Get Eco.
ECO.
What if your repair keeps my system running for several more years?
That would mean you got all those extra years for free.
Paying ECO to fix your furnace is like putting money in the bank.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
Get Eco.com.
Remember how that little girl in Poltergeist was in the TV? Yeah? Well, she's actually dead now. It's quite sad. Anyway, watch your favorite fan shows on your TV by subscribing to us on YouTube. Search 971 The Fan. Do it now.
Hey, Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived. The only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com, and use promo code JUSTSPORTS to get a welcome bonus up to $100. And be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome, Columbus, to the all-new Toyota Direct. We've expanded our showroom, enhanced our service with 6 lanes, 85 bays, and 65 techs. Enjoy the new lounges with all of the comforts and extras. And now get 0% for up to 72 months on 100% of all new 24 and 25 Toyotas. Come see your all-new Toyota Direct, the area's #1 Toyota dealer.
0% for 72 on a new 24 Tundra with approved credit. Max financed MSRP on vehicle. Cannot combine offers. Must take delivery from dealer stock by 10/31/24. See dealer for details.
Hear that? That's the sound of Bernie Moreno shredding evidence to avoid paying his employees. You see, Moreno refused to pay his employees the overtime pay they earn, so they sued him. And after a court ordered Moreno to keep the evidence of his wage theft, what did he do? That's right, he shredded it. Moreno even admitted to shredding evidence in court. He was found liable for wage theft, and a court forced him to pay over $400,000. Innocent people don't shred evidence. And now that Bernie Moreno is running for Senate, he doesn't want to talk about how he was caught ripping off his employees. And that begs the question, do you want a guy like that representing you in the Senate? Bernie Moreno, you can't trust him to be for you. The United Association of Plumbers and Pipe Fitters paid for and is responsible for the content of this ad. UA.org, not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Breezy this afternoon, starting with sunshine, but we'll see more clouds by later in the afternoon. Highs in the mid to upper 70s. A sprinkle or two could fall with those clouds. Temperatures falling tonight as things clear out. Lows down into the 40s. Highs tomorrow, mostly sunny, but only into the low 60s. We'll be back in the 70s with a small chance for rain on Friday. That's your latest 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Michael Behrens on 97.1 The Fan.
Putting up with Tom Tiberi for a decade, the broadcast gods gave Bo these two. This is Bishop and Friends.
Really excited about this. It was in the works for a long time, and we finally got it done, and it's going to be awesome. Join us. Unforgettable evening. It is coming up quickly now. Tuesday, November 12th, High Make Distillery in Grandview. Thrilled to invite you to the release of our exclusive fan barrel picks. Proceeds benefit Brady Quinn's Third and Gold Foundation, making a difference in the lives of veterans. Enjoy exclusive barrel picks, delicious food pairings, live music, and a meet and greet with select athletes. For tickets and more, head to 971thefan.com. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. You hit on, we were talking in the break about the comments we were making in terms of the Ohio State near misses that happened during your tenure. And it clicked that in 12 and in 13 it was a BCS, and in 14 it was not. It was the first year of the college football playoff. I wanted to get this. I don't know that I've ever asked you this from your perspective. But from my perspective, and I was doing the show with AR at the time, and he and I had these, because this, and it bleeds into our conversation about what are they going to do with these teams. He and I were pretty adamant that you could not take a team, because it was a poll mentality, you could not take a team that was ranked 6th or 7th and jump them over two teams that won. So when you guys, did you think when you played Wisconsin in the Big Ten title game, coming off of the injury to JT, did you think in your guys' head that there was a chance you could get in? Was that talked about? Did Urban talk about it?
Urban definitely talked about that for sure. You know, Urban would go in there and he would say, listen, this is what's going to happen. We're going to go out here and we're going to swing as hard as you can. You swing as hard as you can. And we got to go. We got to roll tonight, boys. We're going for it tonight.
Oh, he said that.
We got to go for it tonight.
So you knew you'd put it on him if you could.
Yeah, we're going for it tonight. So with that being said, you kind of knew, like, all right, we got to have a very dominant performance. Because you understand the optics as a player. Like, even though you're in it, you're not naive. Like, you're not like, oh, yeah, they're definitely going to look at us as a top 4 team if we got our third-string quarterback. That's not going to be the case. Like, that's not. No. They're going to look at it like, we got to see it. Can this team still hang with the Alabamas and the Oregons? And the only way to do that, the best thing was we went into that game as an underdog. And what helped us out, I think, the most is that if I remember correctly, Wisconsin had, like, a top 5 defense maybe in the country. So putting
Melvin Gordon.
So putting up 59 points and blanking them and shutting down Melvin, like, that's all right. You got
they
our
were favored.
Yeah, we were. Our last 3 games, we were all underdogs in every last one of those games.
People don't remember that.
Yeah,
they
it was
don't
the first time in my career we was underdog.
Yeah, people don't remember that part of it because so much of the memory of that is centered around the Alabama game. I think sometimes people forget a little bit of the Oregon game just because it felt like when you beat Bama, you did it at that point.
Yeah.
The other thing that people forget is there were 3 undefeated teams:
Oregon, Florida State,
and Bama. Yeah, and the 2 teams that were ahead of you previous to that were TCU and Baylor, but they each had a loss. So it was conceivable that you guys were able to jump them. We didn't know it at the time, but they did it at the time. But it's so interesting that Urban had that mindset of we've got to put it on them. And you guys, this was another big part of it. You got a ton of benefit by playing the 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, because everybody got to see it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, even when they was doing the reveal, I thought TCU would get in. I didn't think we would jump them.
Where were you?
I was in my apartment. I was sitting there next to Cardale.
You didn't gather?
No. I sat sitting there right next to Cardale watching it. And as soon as it popped up, we both went crazy.
Yeah. So you were dogs. You were big dogs to Bama.
Yeah, we was dogs to everybody.
And then that's funny. It's weird how many people had the Oregon one wrong. I remember doing radio in Oregon that day of the national championship game in Portland, and I did like a guest hit for somebody there, and they were asking me like, "Well, do you think this Ohio State team has a chance?" And I was like, "Yeah." Because I saw Oregon walk in, and I knew they couldn't block you, and I knew you were going to road grade them.
The funny thing about the Bama game is I remember this vividly. So we're in New Orleans. It's the night before the game, and I think I'm rooming with Armani Reeves. I think he might have went to sleep. I'm still up watching TV, and they was asking. This Philly Brown was playing for Carolina at the time, and they was asking like Carolina players who they thought would win the game.
Yeah,
and everybody on Carolina kept saying Alabama. And Philly was the only one. Now, granted, he went to Ohio State, so of course he's biased, but he goes, "Oh, Ohio State gonna win that game. They're gonna win like 37-24, something like that." And I started laughing. It was like the last thing I remember before I went to sleep that night. And I was like, wow, he's literally the only person I've seen on national network, on anything I've ever covered, that said that we was gonna win. And it's crazy that we ended up winning that. So it was just a big shocker to everybody.
It was the only time, one of the very rare times where I actually picked the other team.
You picked Bama?
I did, yeah. And you guys all kept receipts. And I don't remember if you did this specifically, but D. Lee definitely did.
Yeah, he did.
Because I knew D. Lee and Joshua Perry since high school. So, because we used to do 1st and 10. And so I knew them since high school. And they were like, how you like us now? And I'm like, look, I wasn't rooting against you guys. You were 14-point dogs or whatever it was. Like, it just seemed like a lot to overcome, you know? So it was one of those few times. That's why Tim May will never pick Ohio State to lose ever. He never has. Dom hasn't either. They will never pick Ohio State to lose. Because if you ever get it wrong, if you ever predict them to lose and you get it wrong, they will only remember it forever.
Yeah.
So that's the problem there with that. So even during the 6-6 season, Dom and Tim had come up there and picked Ohio State to win every week. Like, what are we doing? No matter who they could play the 85 Bears and they pick the Buckeyes to win.
Yeah. I'm in the same way. I don't think I've ever picked against the Buckeyes. I picked against the Browns, though, and I was right, too.
We got this one. Speaking of the Browns, I got this from as Tyler on during the Hey Guys. Blame for current Brown situation, Watson not performing, or bad team composition. Here's what I would say on that. They pushed all the chips in with Watson.
They did.
The brain trust of Stefanski, DePodesta, and Barry pushed all the chips in with Deshaun Watson. And they did it because they didn't think they could beat Burrow and Mahomes and Lamar with Baker. And that's what it was about. And so those guys went to ownership and said, go acquire him. So the thing that they were I think there were two things they were really naive to. Number one, his mental state. Could he handle all of the stuff that was coming? And the answer to that retroactively is no.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think they probably deserve even more blame for rather than even that is they just thought they could make him fit in what Kevin does offensively.
Well,
they thought he would adjust to what Kevin does, and the reality is he wouldn't.
Well, the interesting part about it is the fact that when they met, he said he liked the stuff that Kevin was doing, which turned out to be false. So it started off bad. It started off with a lie, technically.
Yeah. You're exactly right. They had the meeting, and it was like, I literally like these plays that Kevin's run, and what's not to like? Like, he schemes a lot of guys wide open.
Yeah, he does.
But the reality is that's not who Deshaun was as a player. So when you think about the blame for the current situation, it falls at the people that made those decisions and were adamant about campaigning to bring Watson in. I don't think it's as dire as Jake thinks, by the way. We had Jake Trotter on. You can listen to that wherever you get your podcasts, and he was talking about worst situation in the NFL. It's not that. It's not as bad as Carolina.
Carolina's terrible.
Carolina's much worse. And I think there's other spots worse, too. They still have some really good players, and I think that they can retool and be relevant.
I'm going to tell you right now, if the Rams trade Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford,
Yeah, there's some other spots. All right, NBA tonight. It debuted last night. The Cavaliers open tonight at Cleveland. Get an NBA preview, a Cavs preview with our good buddy Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com, coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
1, 2, 3. The Daily Coach Ryan Day Show is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's the Daily Show with Coach Ryan Day, brought to you by Safe Flight Auto Glass. This season, we've seen Mitchell Melton, a defensive end, get quite a few rips out there on the field. A guy that has recovered from multiple injuries. Whether it's he or others have done the same thing, I know that has to be a great story on a team. Yeah, no, good for Mitch. Everyone has their own journey, and another guy that we're going to count on here to help us. But he's got a veteran presence to him, and he's a good player, and he can rush the passer, and so we're going to need him. Okay, we have another comment in just a moment.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safe Light Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at SafeLight.com. Safe Light Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
At Ohio State, we are the never afraid to innovate teams and the improve people's lives teams. Together, we are the Ohio State University.
Coach, we were asking you about players coming back from injury, but what goes into trying to keep guys that aren't playing while they're injured, while they're rehabbing, mentally engaged in everything that goes on and incorporated with the team? Well, it's part of playing football. You're going to get hurt, you're going to get injured. And there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. When you get injured, you just go about the business of rehab, and we have some of the best people in the country here with our sports medicine. Adam Stewart's a big part of that, and spending time in there. But it's all about how you handle it. What do you want the outcome to be when you come out the back end of it? And for a lot of our guys, it makes them appreciate the game a little bit more. Look at it a little bit, do a little bit more off the field work, more film work, and then obviously come back stronger. Okay, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
At Roof Revivers, we save not only your roof, but your money too. Whether you need a quick repair or a full replacement, we've got you covered. While many companies jump straight to replacements, we always start with repairs. Replacements, that's our last resort. We'll provide a clear, detailed explanation of what your roof needs, complete with photos, so you know exactly why. With over 350 5-star reviews on Google, honesty is at the heart of everything we do. Roof Revivers is ready to work for you. Visit roofrevivers.com today. Roof Revivers, we fix leaky roofs.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The Christmas cash giveaway is now at UDF. With UDrive Plus, 1 in 7 can play to win prizes instantly, including $1,000 weekly by buying specially marked items at UDF. No purchase necessary. Visit udrivecontest.com for official rules.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Fast, sustainable weight loss without medications. The solution for weight loss. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Pull up a stool and ask the bartender for something neat, because Uncle Bo is on the radio. This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, Bo and Tyvis here on a First Friday Miracle edition of the program. When we talk NBA, when we talk Cavs, we certainly love to do so with our great friend Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com, covering the Cavaliers and the NBA at a very high level for a very long time. I want to start big picture with you, then we'll dig down a little bit on the Cavs, buddy, and thank you so much for your time. Huge transition year for the association. When you think of kind of the twilight of LeBron and Steph and Durant and the aging of all of that, and also like the end of the Inside the NBA era, which has been part of my whole life, quite honestly, in some way of it with TNT. Where is give me a state of the association as we tipped off last night and the Cavs go tonight?
To me, guys, this is a fascinating situation that the NBA finds itself in, and I've had multiple conversations with a bunch of different players about this. I'm wondering who is going to carry the torch. I'm wondering who's going to become the new face of the NBA. And it's got to be an American-born player. It can't be Giannis. It can't be Jokic. It can't be Joel Embiid, because they're just not as relatable. And if you think about it, for the last decade plus, it's been LeBron, it's been KD, it's been Steph, depending on who you ask. And they went from the Jordan era, then the Kobe era. And I just don't know who that is. Is it Anthony Edwards? Is it Donovan Mitchell? Donovan Mitchell and I have had conversations about this. He wants to be the face of the NBA when LeBron is gone, and he's positioning himself to be that. But it's going to require, getting to the NBA Finals and being on that stage. Is it Jason Tatum? So I just don't know that the NBA is going to have that next megastar, the American-born megastar, that's ready to be what LeBron was for the league for the last 15 years. And that's a tough place to be for the league.
I want to give a little credit for Chris on this. Chris, you brought this up on our show maybe 2 years ago. I asked you a question about it, and you said, well, Bo, let me ask you this. Who is the American-born NBA superstar who's got next? And at the time, I said Ja. I think you and I said maybe Ja.
Yeah.
But then that went so off the rails. So I just want to give you your flowers because you've been on this for a long time, my friend.
And look, I mean, Anthony Edwards has the talent, and I think he certainly has a bunch of fans that gravitate to his game. But he's Adidas, not Nike, right? And some of the things that he says, like he's not as polished when it comes to all of the things that you would want the face of the NBA to talk about, to discuss the way that LeBron is. So you just don't know what Ant is going to say in front of a microphone, and that can be a dangerous spot. And I just don't know that he would be the right one for that. Jason Tatum is another one. Obviously, he plays in Boston. He's on a championship-level team. It looks like he can be in the MVP conversation every single year. So maybe it becomes him, but his popularity just hasn't been there for whatever reason over the last decade.
Well, Chris, that brings me to this situation. Since we're talking about guys that could be the next face, let's talk about the guy that could be the next face in Cleveland. Evan Mobley, now that Kenny Atkinson is now the head coach here, what are we expecting to see differently this year out of Evan Mobley?
So that's one of the things that Kenny is focused on, guys. When he went through the entire interview process with the Cavs, and all of the different candidates talked about their vision for the team and what they saw within the core four and what kind of offense they wanted to have in defense, Kenny had a detailed plan for Evan Mobley taking the next step. And that's something that appealed to this front office, because this front office believes in Evan. This front office believes that he can be the most important and best player on a championship team. And if the Cavs are going to hang another banner, people inside this organization, guys, believe that Evan, not Donovan, has to be their best player at some point. So I think the first thing that you're going to see, the most noticeable difference that you're going to see, is pockets throughout the course of the game, guys, where Jarrett and Evan aren't on the floor together. The Cavs have what they're classifying the big lineup, and they have what they consider a spread lineup. And they believe Evan Mobley, surrounded by 4 shooters, is going to give him more space. It's going to give him more opportunity. It's going to allow him to be used similar to the way that he was in the Boston series last year in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Get him the ball on the move. Allow him to use his foot speed and his quickness to blow by guys. Pull defenders out to the perimeter and see if he can beat them off the dribble. You know, they don't want him to be a standstill three-point bomber, but that has to be some part of his game so that he can threaten the defense in a different kind of way. And the other plan, and this is something that I think you're going to start to see tonight against Toronto, and you kind of saw flashes of it in the preseason, although it's hard to really gauge things in the preseason. The touches for Evan Mobley, the usage rate for Evan Mobley is going to go up. Last year, he was 5th on the team in total usage rate. He was, I believe, 4th in shot attempts and 3rd in touches. Like, there has to be a reconfiguration so that he's more involved consistently on the offensive end of the floor. And part of that, guys, is that Evan has to demand the ball. He has to say, Donovan, Darius, get me the ball. I have a mismatch, and this is going to be a good thing for our offense. So Evan Mobley, the evolution of Evan Mobley into an offensive force and a more reliable offensive player that is more of a focal point of this offense as opposed to kind of like the third banana or an afterthought at times, is something that the Cavs are really, really committed to.
Talking to the great Chris Fedor, great friend of the program, covers the Cavs and the NBA at Cleveland.com. He joins on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. They make the change at coach, and that's a significant one, not minimizing that. That's a big one when you change coaches. That's huge. But roster remains very familiar to what we've seen the last couple of years, and they didn't play much together last year at all. You talked about the core 4 and all of that. So with that comes an expectation. You mentioned the finals for Donovan Mitchell. We do this every year when we start a season. What's fair? What is fair? What should the minimum requirement for this roster be?
Well, expecting this team to get to the NBA Finals, I think, is a little bit too much because Boston exists. And for all of the parity that we talk about in today's NBA, the Celtics, to me, are the closest thing to the dynastic Golden State Warriors that we have. So because the Cavs are in the same conference with that super team, I think it's hard to say, you know, they've got to go to the NBA Finals or otherwise it's going to be a disappointment. But, you know, getting to the conference finals and seeing if they can be competitive in a 7-game series against that caliber team, I think that's where you place the expectations. I think that's fair for this team. I also think that the East is beyond Boston, who I believe belongs on a different tier than every other team in the entire NBA. Beyond them, there are questions in the East.
Yeah.
I like New York. I think they're going to be good, but is it going to work with Cat? They're going to try and play a completely different style offensively than what they have in the past. Can they stay healthy? With Tibbs running those guys into the ground during the regular season. They weren't last year in the playoffs, right? Philadelphia. What version of Joel Embiid are they going to get when the playoffs rolls around? Is Paul George going to be the right fit there? So there are a bunch of different questions with all these teams that are perceived title contenders, especially in the Eastern Conference, that it makes the pathway for the Cavs to be the second best team in the East real. And I don't think, you know, when you commit as much as they have to Donovan and Darius and Evan and Jarrett, and they define those guys as their core 4, the pillars that they're going to build this around, you know, it's not just get to the playoffs and see what happens. No, there's a level of expectation. And even President of Basketball Operations, Kobe Altman, guys, who has always stopped short of lofty expectations, use the C word, chasing a championship. That's what this team is all about now. And Kenny Atkinson is going to have to be different enough than J.B. Bickerstaff to help them get to that point, because the roster, as you said, is very similar. 13 of 14 are holdovers.
Yeah. Great stuff, buddy. As always, greatly appreciate your time. Thanks for giving us a little bit of it today.
You got it, guys. Anytime.
All right, that's the great Chris Fedor, covers the Cavs at Cleveland.com. You know what I think's really interesting, and you're a Cleveland kid. What I love about this is that they took the long road here.
Mm-hmm.
They believe in the guys they drafted.
Mm-hmm.
They paid them. They're going to allow them, with the coaching change, to develop a chemistry and a uniqueness and all of those things. And I think it's really important for fans to understand that you don't have – success is not only determined by winning a championship. It's about being relevant and being in the mix and having at-bats, and they should have at-bats.
They literally took what the Celtics did. The Celtics for many years screamed, get rid of Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. You can't work with both of them. The Celtics continued to double down. They ended up getting the right veteran pieces to go in there with them, and boom, championship, and now they're one of the best teams. Cavs can do the same thing. I mean, they have to develop their young guys. DG getting his love back for the game, that's going to be huge. Evan taking that next step. If he becomes more like a Draymond Green, obviously that would help out a lot. If they do those two things right there, I mean, the sky's the limit for them.
Yeah. It's a great point out of you on Boston. People forget that people want to blow that team up a lot. Get your officially endorsed at 3 things coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Direct Auto Insurance is for uncompromisers, the people who refuse to make trade-offs in life. Like Kelly, when her old car insurance got so expensive that she couldn't afford to drive anymore, do you think she started carrying her groceries for miles? No. But she did find Direct Auto's savings that allowed her to drive instead of compromise. With savings of up to 25%, you too can stop compromising and keep driving. Get a quote today at directauto.com. Savings based on applied discounts and will vary. Terms apply. How you buy can affect price. National General Group, Winston-Salem.
Trust and Will knows that you're likely celebrating a loved one's birthday this month because fall is the most popular birthday season in America. And Trust and Will celebrates by protecting what matters most. Trust and Will makes estate planning easy and affordable, designed by attorneys but customized by you. Visit trustandwill.com with offer code Columbus for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code Columbus. Trust and Will is an online service providing legal forms and information. It is not a law firm and is not a substitute for the advice of an attorney.
Common Man here for Care Heating and Cooling. Weather is unpredictable, but the inside of your home should be comfortable just the way you like it. And the best way to avoid those unnecessary surprises is with a care plan. See, with a care plan, you get priority service, system maintenance in case of an emergency. Just another way to give you and your family peace of mind. And maintaining your systems properly can help save you money. A properly maintained furnace and air conditioner run more efficiently, reducing your utility usage. Regular maintenance also prevents breakdowns and extends the life of your equipment. I'm on the care plan, and I'm quite the expert. I'll stop by and give your system a once-over. I will. Don't tempt me. I end every commercial the same way, telling you to hire Care when you need a company you can trust. It's not just a slogan. That's the Care creed. How about this? Lennox. They have thousands of dealers nationwide. HVAC royalty. Last year, Lennox gave Care their coveted Partner of the Year award because they're trusted by their customers and their partners. Care Heating and Cooling. Call 1-800-COOLING or book an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com when you need a company you can trust.
Common Man and T-Bone.
We're throwing around ghost pepper like it's nothing. If you say ghost pepper, I want it to be so spicy that I crap myself.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
It's Bob and Beam here. This NBA season, you can make every play, pass, point, mean more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Check out newer bets like the number of dunks, assists, three-pointers in the next 3 minutes. It doesn't matter if you tap into FanDuel before the game starts or after it's already tipped off. That's the best part, is they've got the in-game action now. You can start talking about, guys, how many threes they're going to make, how many dunks LeBron will have, Jason Tatum, what's he going to be like? I know Bodie will be excited about that. Maybe even his buddy, Mr. Brown, there. Parlay their action together. Get it going. Build that same game parlay that you want for your favorite team. And then visit FanDuel.com/juice for your chance to score $300 in bonus bets. That is 3 Benjamins. How about that with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
Must be 21 years and older. President, Ohio. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue does not withdraw but bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, I'm Joanna Williams, General Manager at Tansky Sawmill Toyota. Is it time for a new or used car? Visit Tansky Sawmill Toyota on the corner of Sawmill and 161, home of the Tansky Promise, where our salespeople aren't paid on commission. We have a 72-hour exchange policy, and every transaction is upfront and transparent. You can even start the process at home. Visit TanskySawmillToyota.com to start your purchase today and to see all of this month's specials. And when you think Toyota, think Tansky.
By the time you're finished listening to this Pepsi Zero Sugar, you'll be 15 seconds closer to kickoff. Stock up now. Bengals game day is so close, you can almost taste it. Bengals watching. Better with Pepsi.
At Diamond Cellar, we've been crafting love stories for over 77 years. Trust, quality, and always the guaranteed best price. Visit us today to experience the Diamond Cellar difference. Stop into our showroom on Sawmill Road or at Easton Town Center.
Want to know anything about the fans' contests, how to win, or what's up for grabs? Check out 971thefan.com. The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie, and once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Reese, what do we have on the poll today?
The Daily Fan poll sounds like it came from two soccer fans, as Beam and Austin Ward were hosting Morning Juice.
Yeah.
If you could spend one day with one of these two legendary sports trophies, which one would you pick? Lord Stanley's Cup is one of them. The other, the Trillium Cup. 92% of you say you'd rather spend a day with Lord Stanley's Cup than the Trillium Cup, which I just learned today is a physical cup.
I know what it is. Yeah, this is the battle between them and Toronto. Crew in Toronto is the Trillium Cup. That's what they play for. I mean, the Stanley Cup would be pretty fun.
Would be the most fun of any cup-like trophy.
Yeah, because it's functional.
The cup.
You can drink out of it, which is a win. Speaking of drinking, let's hit your officially endorsed.
Bishop and Friends present First Friday, officially endorsed, because everyone deserves 2 Fridays.
You drink for the wrong reasons. My generation, we drink because it's good, because it feels better than unbuttoning your collar, because we deserve it. We drink because it's what men do.
Oh, baby, the leaves are changing. This is peak Ohio. The weather is perfect. It's everything you want. It's the perfect time for the Maple Old Fashioned. In fact, if you go to Costco right now, if you're a Costco member, you can pick up their bourbon barrel maple syrup. So go pick up a bottle of that sucker. You're going to need about a teaspoon of it, maybe 2. Maybe if you want a little sweeter, you go a teaspoon of that. You're going to go 3 ounces of your favorite bourbon. My choice here is usually a wheated bourbon. A Weller certainly works. Something like that would work very well on this. And then I go black walnut bitters on the shake, and away you go. The Maple Old Fashioned. It's my favorite Old Fashioned. I refrain from having them in the summer and through the early part of the fall, but it's go time now, and it is your officially endorsed. So enjoy that. Time for 3 things. Hit it.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
Number 1 for me. So Bootsy's home, and he's homesick. He missed yesterday, missed today. So I hear my wife saying, like, well, this isn't just going to be a vacation. You got some homework to do. You're going to do your homework. And I hear him down in the basement, and he goes, Mom, I'm playing for a championship. Gosh. And I go down there, and he's playing Boise State versus Bama in the national championship. Genty has ran for 2,800 yards in the Heisman at Boise State, and I had to respect the hustle. It's a good job at an 8-year-old.
It probably is going to happen like that. I don't know about the national championship for Boise, but the 2,800 yards is on the table.
So 10 yards a carry, he'll do that.
All right, number 1 for me, I have to leave here and go to some place. My wife decided to, I don't know what she did. Like, she submitted a request for the video. I told you about this, the commercial shoot thing. Well, it's happening today.
Oh, it's happening.
It's happening right as we speak, and I got to go down and be supportive. I didn't want to go. I kind of wanted to go home and have some alone time, but she's requested my presence, so there you go.
Welcome to marriage.
I'd had this for earlier in the show, but Jake Diebler and the Buckeyes got a commitment from 4-star big man Amari Bynum on Tuesday. So they've got two in their class for 2025. It's in the top 25. They are one spot behind Chris Holtmann and Creighton. The big fish, Darren Peterson, is going to choose between Kansas, Kansas State, USC, and Ohio State next Friday, November 1st.
Did you see what 24/7 has as 100% on him?
Well, yeah, but it's not 100% until he announces it.
He's the best high school basketball player I've ever seen in person. He got a lot of money from Adidas. I don't mean to break hearts. He's going to Kansas. Come on. Number 2, I have always held off wanting to put a television in the children. None of them have TVs in their rooms, and I don't want it because I don't want them just in a cave. I'm going to tell you what, I'm rethinking it. My 12-year-old NBC and his idiot buddies last night were FaceTiming each other while playing the college football video game in my man cave.
Yeah.
And I had to go down there and then come up to the office, and I'm going, what happened? I've lost my house.
Yeah.
I'm putting that kid in his room. He's going to get his TV. I don't need to see him. I don't want to hear about the FaceTiming with the bozos. I'm done with it.
You sound like me when I bought that 85-inch TV for my living room, and I said, yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
The next thing I know, I'm off in a corner watching my monitor while my kids is watching Muppet Babies or whatever the
Bluey.
Bluey and whatever the heck they watch over there. It's unfortunate. Second thing for me is I told y'all on Monday that I did that Sherm thing where I ran, and I was done. I was officially done, Bo. I said, I'm not doing it no more. That was a one and done. Well, yesterday I'm sitting there, and I get on Instagram, and I get a mention from Richard Sherman amongst with all of his people that he's put in this club.
Yep.
And I felt forced to have to keep doing it. So now I have to keep doing it because I'm part of the Run Club now.
I love it.
How many miles do you have to do during a session? Like, what's the range here?
They're unbelievable. They're doing 10 miles a session.
Why can't you?
He's got jobs.
I'm busy.
Richard Sherman's not
that
busy.
On a Thursday, yes. Outside of that, he does his podcast. Whoop-de-doo.
Nobody asked for this, but the Cavaliers have an over-under set at 48.5 games. They won 48 last season. I'm going to say they hit the over there.
Me too.
Fall to the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I like that. I like where your head's at on that, and I think that would be a really fun season for them. No time for 3 today. Rothman and Ice up next. Pay attention. Shefty coming up in that first hour. He's going to have a lot to say. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. Enjoy your first Friday. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you don't like listening to Morning Juice, Bobby Carpenter's man nipples will punch you in the face. For real.
You want to fight, do you? Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
Download the Prime Sports Ohio app today or visit primesportsbook.com and use the promo code JUSTSPORTS for a welcome bonus of up to $100. Updating the Buckeyes odds. Ohio State's minus 700 to make the college football playoff, plus 165 to win the Big Ten. Oregon is the favorite at plus 130, and Ohio State's plus 450 to win the national title, behind only Georgia at plus 330. For your action update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
Just how liberal is Sherrod Brown? Take a look at his actual votes. That's what Debbie from the Cleveland area did.
I thought I knew Sherrod Brown. Now I hear he's super liberal, so I went and looked at his votes. Brown voted to allow late-term partial birth abortions. It's horrific. The AMA said it should be banned, but Sherrod voted for it more than once.
In fact, Sherrod Brown voted for partial birth abortion 6 different times.
Partial birth abortion? Allowing trans biological men in girls' locker rooms and girls' sports? Sex change surgery for kids? He seemed like a good guy, but with Brown's voting record, I just can't vote for him.
Sherrod Brown has let us down. When you look at his actual votes, Sherrod Brown is just way too liberal for Ohio. Senate Leadership Fund paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.senateleadershipfund.org.
Ohio, ready for some quick mental health facts? Let's go. Nearly 2 million Ohioans live with a mental health condition. In the U.S., more than 50% of people will be diagnosed with a mental illness in their lifetime. Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide. So why are some of us still stigmatizing people living with a mental health condition when we know all of this? Let's listen to the facts and beat the stigma. Ohio, challenge what you know about mental health at beatthestigma.org.
Valvoline Instant Oil Change will help ease your oil change-anxiety. Picture expert technicians who are quick but not rushed. When you hear the bell, breathe in and out. Now, let go of your oil change-anxiety. Visit Valvoline Instant Oil Change today and find automotive peace. No appointment needed.
This year's starting lineup at Honda Marysville is as strong as ever, so come see us.
Choose from Ohio's largest selection of Hondas and get 0% for 60 on any new CR-V, HR-V, Passport, Pilot, or Ridgeline with the trade.
Honda's built here, Honda's sold here. Honda Marysville. We're closer than you think.
0% with approved credit and 80% of MSRP financed. 2010 or newer trade with KBB appraisal at $2,500 or more. Must take delivery from dealer stock 10/31/24.
Ready to be the change and have a positive impact on your community? Consider joining the Columbus Division of Police. Starting pay is $70,000 plus, growing to 6 figures after 4 years of service. We offer paid vacations, paid holidays, and health insurance. Do you aspire to complete your degree? We offer 100% tuition reimbursement after you complete your first year of service. Contact the CPD recruiting unit at jobs@columbuspolice.org or apply online at columbus.gov/government/jobs. The City of Columbus is an equal opportunity employer.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season.
I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have.
Think you could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T.
I've heard about Nugenix. That really works?
Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try?
Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text CHEST to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text CHEST to 42424. That's CHEST to 42424. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose